Good evening, everybody. Welcome in for some Tuesday night ACL action over here at the Ages Esports GG Twitch channel. My name is Yanni. I am joined here by TDS. And TDS, we couldn't have a better match on our hands. Two of the best teams in all of amateur right now, Supernova and Citadel, going at it to determine the first seed out of the A teams in the GSL.
Yeah, exactly. It's a first tier or tier 1, tier 3, seed 1 matchup. I think that makes sense in some way. But yeah, this is the best we could ask for in terms of some of the teams here in the ACL, as well as even in the NACL. This is a team that is looking or poised to be one of the top contenders for qualification this year in the NACL, and a team that is surprising and going into a lot of other places in a good way in the form of Citadel. So it's going to be exciting seeing how these two are going to face each other, because already we have seen a little bit of them, but we need to remember in the NACL it was only a BO1, so now we're going to actually get a little bit more action from both of these teams, at the very least more than one game.
Yeah, this is why you should tune into the ACL, by the way, because we have best of threes of some of these really good NACL teams. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. Starting with Citadel, it's Philip in the top lane, Kenvi in the jungle, Bradley in mid lane, Instinct at AD carry, and Diamond at support.
Some of you may know, obviously, the starting roster for Citadel in the NCL, obviously the starting roster of ACL here as well, and our defending champions as well. So for now, trying to keep the honor alive for the side of Citadel, trying to keep themselves as the top candidates and go back-to-back, because I'm pretty sure almost no team has been able to go back-to-back. Gordo is the one that usually gives those sort of stats, but I think there's no back-to-back champion yet. So Citadel wants to be the first to be able to pull it off. If I'm completely wrong, I'm sorry to the other team that has pulled it off before, but it feels like that would be the case. As for the side of Citadel, though, this is going to be a tough matchup, because obviously Supernova is a really strong candidate already in what the NACL is showing, and here in the ACL as well, they are a top candidate. They already showed up yesterday with a 2-0 against CCG, and today they want to follow up with this as well.
Yeah, and that was a very strong 2-0 over another really good roster that is also in the NACL, so that is certainly something to watch out for at TDS. And let's take a look at Supernova's roster. In the top lane, it's Hoarder. In the jungle, it's Dardoch, aka Mr. Dude. Oh, what a name, bro. Mid lane, Blaze Olive. Bot lane, Scary Jerry and Breezy. You know, normally I flame players for changing up their names competitively because, oh, you got to build a brand, but like everybody knows who Dardoch is by this point. So it's not too much of a surprise. And before you really dig into Supernova, we are in the draft. Just going to point that out, taking a look at the couple bands up top. TDS, the time is yours to go yap about Supernova.
Yeah, we quickly have to point out, though, we mentioned something similar about this yesterday, but we talked about the trifecta of strong junglers that are currently in the meta. One of them is a Trundle, the other is Pantheon because he's permaban, and then the ones that tend to be picked are the Xin Zhao and the Wukong. So not surprised if it ends up going into that, but a lot of attention towards particular champions in the jungle, and then also two top laners. No Rumble focus, no Varus ban yet, and Varus is still not like changed, nerfed. I wouldn't really put it on a nerf, but changed a little bit. So it's still a really strong pick that most teams would go for, and Citadel ignore that completely. They really don't care about the Varus priority. Instead, it's the Rumble priority, and it is all saying, do whatever you want up there, Philip. You can run the show here against Hoarder and destroy him with this Rumble.
Yeah, not too surprising. It is his most played in the NACL so far here in the second split. Remember, those are all best of one, so the sample sizes are a little bit small, and I think this match will be very telling, not only for obviously ACL, but for potential playoffs over in the NACL, because you know Citadel 5-4, Supernova 7-2 over there. Again, with it being best of ones, you never really know who is the greater strength. I remember on Twitter a couple of things were making the rounds, like, oh, if you know, we had like taking a look at the standings, if everything was best of one and split one, and the standings were all topsy-turvy. So again, the good barometer here for both of these teams to see how strong they actually are. Aurora Wukong gonna get locked in as a 1-2 punch for Supernova.
Yeah, that's a really strong 1-2 that they are going for. Aurora, I feel like has been going down a little bit in terms of how prioritized it is for a lot of the other teams. But for Supernova here, trying to play off the flex, trying to have the Wumbo really effectively. The Wukong as well, really strong still with the ultimate body that we almost always can see. And also, we talked about this a little bit before. Trifecta of strong champions, there's the Wukong always there. As the Asir and the Bears, two strong champions in the current meta. Asir particularly having that push away from some of these ultimates is going to be really ideal. And then Bears can play off of either being the poke mage or the poke AD carry or the just attack speed AD carry. I think this game may be a little bit more poke based, just off of the fact that there's a lot of team fighting value here on Supernova's side. And then to close it off, potentially a Talia here. I like the Talia for this year, but because there's not a lot of mobility just yet, her full value is a little bit denied here. She could be even more stronger if there's a little bit more mobility or more dash potential on the side of Citadel.
Yeah, there's no hard CC coming out from the Wukong until level 6 where he's got the knockup, so it's going to be a little bit harder to hit a seismic shove pre-6. That's something to keep in mind for some ganks. We're heading to the second half of bans. TDS, if I'm Supernova, I need something that's going to get me to that Azir, something like a Nautilus potentially. And if you're going to do that, that means you have to ban out some of these poke supports that can be paired up with the Varus.
Yeah, there's options like the Nico that could end up coming here with the Bears that are really, really strong. Karma as well is one that has been rising up, but not necessarily as big. I think the tension towards the disengagers like the Alistar also makes a little bit of sense. I think Braum could even be an option, but depending on what sort of Bears you go, it can really take away the value from the Bears in general. So it's not necessarily one of those choices that you end up seeing. I really like the Poppy here as well as a ban because of the denial potential for the Wukong and the Aurora. What we were talking about a potential engage that you bring to the table, the Poppy can really effectively deny that essentially here. But to already 2 tank supports denied from the side of Citadel, and then finding away the Jane, I think Misfortune could be one of those choices as well. If not, you could technically go for the Jinx if you're scared of a hyper carry, but the Ezreal also makes a lot of sense just off of the fact that it's such a safe AD carry, poke potential, and then also Scary Jerry's a great Ezreal, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just opts into it normally here. Now, this does leave open the Lucian, and Scary Jerry has favored the Lucian quite a bit as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if these end up going for a Lucian, but they do need a little bit more hard CC on the side of the support.
It would be a pretty tough game to play as a Lucian, especially as it goes later, Azir being so far away. But again, you know, Scary Jerry is such an aggressive player that we could see that come through a little bit later. We are going to see the Rel lock-in come through for Supernova. I think that was a pretty big signal with that Alistar ban that they wanted something like the Rel. I just worry, TDS, that they're not going to be able to get to Bradley provided he positions well.
It's a lot on the range of how they played, right? If they are able to get on top of Bradley, the team fighting composition from Supernova just explodes everyone in Citadel. But here's the Nico we're talking about as well, by the way, the poke potential, also the team fight value because of the knockup that you can get as well. And this just leaves for Citadel jungle. So typically it was, we've talked about the Xin Zhao, but instead it's going to be the Jarvan trying to get that lockdown for the Nico to be able to have an easier time to get a couple of targets down with her ultimate, and then also for the Rumble having that lockdown. And then lastly for Supernova, I like the Corki more, but I've seen Scary Jerry just go for the Lucian much more frequently. But I think the Corki makes more sense here. Poke potential, great damage mid game, and then also his scaling potential is really, really great. Plus early laning phase, there's nothing to scuff at against the barriers. I just think that it just makes much more sense in the context of what Supernova needed and how they kind of want to play this game out. But both sides, I feel kind of happy with what they went for. I think really interesting and straightforward dynamics that they want to play with. A little bit more team fight oriented on the side of Supernova. I would say a little bit more poke and then pick based on the side of Citadel. And it's all going to be on how they can manage those ways of playing the game as best as possible.
I would agree more, TDS. I think for Supernova, they really picked into this Rumble here because Rumble so excellent in these early skirmishes because the Equalizer is such an impactful ultimate, right? Well, Supernova said, you know what, we're going to have our own impactful ultimates with the Wukong, with the Aurora, right, coming out of those lanes. And this does put a lot of pressure on Bradley and Diamond specifically coming into these early fights because Supernova is so indexed into engage, right? So you need to have high quality pop blossoms. You need to get people with the Emperor's Divide and either split the team up or take over a fight. And the problem is Azir's not going to come through with a lot of that damage early. So it's got to be quality ultimates because if you don't fight as Citadel early with a Varus, with a Rumble, what are you doing with your composition? These guys are some of the strongest champions to have around Grubs, around Dragons, around Heralds.
Yeah, those level 6 timings are going to be really impactful in this game for a lot of the champions, obviously, but in how they really set up the early stages is going to be really crucial to see who gets the first move, who really gets to that objective first, who can control the area in a really effective manner. And I think particularly also for Supernova, they are playing a composition here where they are looking to really be the first two objectives, because that way you can really play away from the range advantage that Citadel does have with the Seer and the Barrows. That's one of the best ways to dissuade that and to close out on some of the distance, where Citadel wants to do the same thing, but this time to have the advantage in terms of the range and how effective can their poke and damage from a safe distance can be. It's really going to fall down to who can just control the spaces better and find the right angles for their team fights. One big thing I also want to see this game though is how much attention do we see going into the side lanes from ABO, because one of the biggest things from Tali is going to be obviously be using the Weaver's Wall onto the side lanes so that you can get control of those side lanes and that way have the numbers advantage in multiple occasions. And the Asir, for as much as he can follow, is going to be a little bit more difficult. So I want to see just ABO moving around the map, getting a lot of attention onto the sides, and also providing the support that we've seen he already does to Dardoch so that they can just run the rest of the map really effectively.
Yeah, anytime Instinct's in a side lane, look for an Ablaze Olive ultimate. Anytime Philip is in a side lane, look for that ultimate, because they're going to have to burn flashes out of these guys, right? And now, on the other side, taking a look at guys that are going to have a lot of pressure, you need to see them make plays. We didn't really talk a whole lot about Kenvi, but whenever flashes are down on a Talia, on Aurora, it's easy to get them caught in the Cataclysm, right? These are high-quality targets that you need to realize, oh, their flash is down, I'm attacking them every single time. Because the Jarvan's got to make a lot of early impact, right? As long as he can go early on and maybe get a kill, an assist or two before Dardoch can on the Wukong, this is a successful start in the jungle. And if you can get Bradley going, make sure things are safe for him, he's not under any threat, maybe get him a kill or two, it'll be really, really good for Citadel. There's a lot of moving parts in this game, TDS, because I also think about, when I think about what Supernova needs to do to execute, it's this bot lane, right? Because Corgi has so much early power, almost enough in raw power to match what Citadel's doing in these early fights. But the problem is he's so short-ranged against a Varus, against a Nico. It's going to be really worrisome, especially early on. I'm expecting a pretty instant swap once they get their first backs.
Yeah, it really feels like they need to manage those opportunities and those temporal plays as much as possible, because like you're mentioning, range advantage is going to be something that Citadel can 100% play with here. And particularly, even though Quirky has the raw stats that you're mentioning here, Rel is a lot on the brute force that she can pull off. Like if she gets the engage down, like you can lock down these targets, you actually deal a lot of damage to them with this pairing. But the problem is when she doesn't have that control, when she doesn't have the ability to get on top of them with ease without having to blow flash or anything like that, it just makes it really difficult for this sort of bot lane to really ramp up in terms of the damage. And then the longer trades just feel that Instinct and Diamond can get the better out of them. So a lot of this, I feel like it's going to hang on what Breezy can do and also what setup they can bring for Dardoch, because with Wukong comparatively to the Jarvan, you mentioned it before, it's all in that level 6 spike where you get your own CC and your own opportunity to really gank lanes effectively, where it can be, in comparison, can just come here bot lane, level 2, ganks Scary Jerry, can blow up flash immediately because of the CC combo. That's the sort of thing that I kind of want to see coming in from Citadel, obviously, but from Supernova to manage out. Like, they need to know that they can be aggressive, but at the same time, they cannot go overly aggressive, because their jungler more likely is not going to be consistently there to support them until he reaches level 6, where Kenby can really just be everywhere else on the map.
All right, TDS, it feels like we've analyzed pretty much everything there is to analyze before we actually get into the game. So I want to ask you, who do you think wins this game and why?
Choice. I like Citadel's idea, because if you get just the Cataclysm into Rumble Ultimate, into Nico Ultimate, it kind of just feels like everything is going to burn down. But I'm going to go for standing power in the NACL, and also recent power here, because Supernova dispatches out a pretty strong CCG team that may have been put into the relegation tournament, but they're still a really strong team. A 2-0 victory yesterday is nothing to scoff at, where Citadel had a little bit more of a problem trying to go against Papa's Shungs, which is essentially Winthrop, with Aaron. That is a really strong team anyway. So that just makes me feel like Supernova at this point is riding a much bigger high. They are playing really well, and they feel like they're just such strong contenders that I kind of have to give them the edge here, especially with a team composition that feels like they are really comfortable at playing.
You know what? I think it's a pretty sound argument, TDS. I'm not going to lie. I really prefer what Citadel's doing comp-wise. You've got this early power to bridge into a strong Azir later. But you also have to keep in mind that a champion like Rumble, really strong in these early fights, but as the game goes on, he hits a power trough, but then he spikes back up again, right? So now if we're talking like, oh, Azir's like, you know, sweet spot, you're starting to see like Rumble come back online. And to be honest, unless a member of Supernova gets really far ahead, in which case Azir will never get to that point, I just don't see that team having enough to be able to contend with a late game Azir and a late game Rumble on top of it.
Yeah, it feels like they can just get barbecued alive after, if you consider that late game power and late game threat that they have. And it feels like it's funny saying that it's all going to fall down onto both Bradley and Philip. I would say Philip at the very least feels a little much more comfortable carry or laner to pull back on, but Bradley has had a lot of highs and downs. I think that's going to be one of the main tests here as well, because AVO just came back into the NECL and feels like he's once again what top 3 mid laner, and Bradley, he can be up there, but at the same time he has those lows that kind of make him just be really in between sometimes, and he needs to show up, especially going against such a strong mid laner.
Well, everybody, the moment you've all been waiting for. We're here on Summoner's Rift for Game 1 of a Best of 3 series. Yes, you heard us right. It's 2 NACL teams playing Best of 3. Citadel on the blue side, Supernova on the red side, as Philip and Hoarder poke each other just a little bit. Because Rumble Taser's not going to see nearly as much value in this matchup. Like they shred magic resistance, but so anytime you're able to shred magic resistance, you're not going to be sad.
Be good. You get good trades here and there, like we just saw up there. Also, I just wanted to bring it up quickly because it is an NACL matchup, so we have technically already seen both of these teams played, and the last time they played, it was a Citadel win. So, so you know what? There's always a good chance that Citadel can come up here. Certainly, it worked out last time. Why wouldn't it work out this time, right?
I couldn't agree more. You see a setup over on this bottom side. Just ready for Instinct to walk in, but Diamond had snuffed that one out pretty easily, taking the lead minion. They find their way into the lane as Breezy said he wants to go in, so he's going to hit Diamond with a bit of a crash down, a little bit of damage. Breezy will take a small trade back.
Already going tit for tat in terms of the trading. Already both laners on the side of Supernova getting a little bit impacted, although now a really nice trade onto Instinct. And it's just going to be these short trades, small amounts of trades. Oh, Breezy.
I'm going to force the flash out of Instinct here. As Breezy and Scary Jerry have a lot of control early on, especially with this huge minion wave. Be the first ones to hit level 2, and with Instinct's flash already down, look out.
Yeah, and it's surprising to see the aggressiveness from just popping the heal into blowing the flash from Instinct. Not something that I was expecting to see at all. And one of the things that feels more weird about that sort of play is that if it was Breezy playing with Unsealed Spellbook, I think that makes much more sense, or it's something much more expected. But here he's just running the Aftershock, going all in, Bo3 trying to make it work out. And it worked out. Having no flash now on Instinct, at the very least, makes it so that bot lane doesn't seem like such a desirable lane to try and go for, because any counter gank, any attempt, you can lock down Instinct very easily with no flash.
Yeah, and we talked about how Scary Jerry and Breezy need to be aggressive early, because if you can set this poke bot lane behind, even if you don't kill them, if you just set them behind, it's like, okay, cool. Their poke bot lane didn't get the advantages that they thought they were going to get. If you can kill them, that puts you in such a good spot as the Corki. See that Scary Jerry did take his first back. He did pick up a tier along with a pink ward. Perfectly timed as Kenvi is on the bottom side. We'll pop the Scryer's plant and be able to spot out Dardoch, but won't be able to have a move since, you know, Corki decided to back.
Yeah, and the perfect thing here for how the side of Supernova plays this is that not only the flash is blown by Instinct, is that the timing that they were playing off of from Kembi as well was so that they could get a gank with a bouncing wave after pushing the wave themselves. But because they lose the flash, they get the wave pushed into them, and Scary Jerry backs. The wave just naturally goes back into the side of Supernova. They messed up the timing for Kembi to go gank, which is typical gank timing, I would say, for the Jarvan. And then it also enables Dardoch to move towards top side, gets his own Scouter Crop, and there's not going to be big risk. I think the one that now kind of falls into the potential risk is Hoarder, but the bot lane is extremely happy. Like, they have not suffered anything, they didn't lose anything here, and in the next push they can more than likely just take the next back, go for the top side, and that way begin setting up for the Grobs.
Looking around the map here, mid lane appears to be pretty even, but Blaze Olive had already burned a teleport earlier, so he's going to take the walk, which will allow Bradley to get a new ward down. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, Hoarder still has teleport compared to Philip, who does not, and is also down a level, down at least a little bit of CS, so it'll be something to keep an eye on, especially for some of these later fights, because Hoarder's eventually going to use it. Means Philip will have the advantage later on.
Yeah, it's going to feel like they are going to have a slightly better trading pattern, especially if Hoarder is not able to back here, although it does feel like there's going to be a good chance for that to happen. And also we need to see who's going to try and prioritize the first objective, more importantly, as Philip was trying to look to cancel this back, but it doesn't look like it's going to come through. I think actually Hoarder will end up teleporting here if he takes it back.
He stopped it.
Yeah, so I think they're waiting for the I think they're waiting for the timing so that Scary Jerry can try and move, because we were talking about those drops.
Oh, we're going to throw everything at a Blaze Olive, but after the flag and drag, you only have a level 5 Azir, so it'll be flash for flash, which is fairly good. We did talk about how once Jarvan hits level 6, a flashless Talia is very vulnerable.
Yeah, they're looking aggressively here, though, and Kembi with no flash. Actually, Dardoch is looking aggressively onto Kembi, pushing away the Wukong, and they are already moving here, trying to maybe set up something,
Scary Jerry, he wants in. Look at all this damage coming out the heal, too, but Scary Jerry's out of mana right now. He's trying to turn on to Instinct, but he can't dodge out on the Q, and he flashes. It doesn't matter, it'll be first blood for Instinct. The problem is, he will fall to, will he? Yes, he will. He will fall to Dardoch. Was able to take him out there, but very well played by the bot lane of Citadel.
Yeah, really well done. And like you were mentioning, the multiple times that they stopped the back from Scary Jerry meant that there was not enough flash for them to actually take the right trade, and not accounting for also the amount of damage that Instinct does have in that play. It's just something that you can never not do in that situation. A poke barriers early on with lethality, it's just going to feel really, really scary. Really good first blood for Instinct. I think making the lane now a little bit more, even better for them. They can play it out even more aggressively now thanks to this skill, and also because Hoarder teleported up topside, I'm not sure if they are going to try and trade places for Grob at this point, or at the very least it's going to take a little bit longer for that.
Yeah, it's going to be a little hard for Citadel to have any sort of setup here. They really need to, because this is their strength, right? Get this Varus up and moving, and looks like he's on the bottom side right now, just farming up, having a good time as Nico is transforming into everybody.
Yeah, Nico's the one in the jungle.
Yeah, we do see Kemvi trying to find his way into this top side of Dardoch. Just get some vision down, be aware of where the Jarvan is. It looks like help will be on the spot side, so in a fight for Grubs, I have to say, I think Grubs favors Citadel a little bit. If Supernova gets it, though, it's not the end of the world for Citadel.
Yeah, now thanks to the move that they are trying to make here, even though there was not like a big steal or anything like that coming in from Kembi, they did get vision, so they know where Dardoch's is positioned, and also in case there is a back or any movement from anyone from the side of Supernova, they can also spot that movement and try and prep for that for the coming Grobs if they want to fight for them, right? Because there's also the universe where they give up the Grobs, but it feels like such a waste when they already reached level 6 with the Jarvan at this point.
Yeah, and especially when you have a comp like this. Like, we're just not seeing them do anything. We're not seeing Kemvi really show up top to help out Philip. Now, Philip's teleport will be up soon, but we do see Dardoch already on these Grubs right now. Bradley doesn't really look like he's going to move. A Blaze Olive has the Weaver's Wall to be able to get there first if necessary, but it looks like Citadel is just not interested.
They know there is a Wukong already starting, and they just spotted him. So now they are moving a little bit more aggressively. There is a wave here that Philip needs to answer back, but it's going to be enough space to maybe push away Dardoch. So it's two grubs, but he actually got two grubs, so it's not like it matters.
We're going to see an engage on the bot lane real quick. Is Instinct dealing with Bradley over on the side? Scary Jerry is not having a good time against Diamond. The Q means that he's going to Valk away, but a Blaze Olive will be here to cut down Diamond. Diamond flashed for it and just eats a turret shot, needs a Foss bomb, and he's down.
Yeah, he was looking really aggressively there, Diamond. If he got Ignite, I can kind of buy the idea, but you're playing heal Nico here. More than likely, you're not getting that kill at the end, so a little bit too aggressive in that position. But like you were mentioning, before that play, Scary Jerry was actually taking way too much damage. He actually was about to die to the Nico. Now he does have a little bit more fighting power, but Instinct is still really strong. He did run away. He's still 17 CS ahead of the Corki, and in this next back timing he just gets stronger and stronger for this potential dragon, which weirdly enough I think this is one of the few games where we've seen the dragon be later than the grubs.
Yeah,
I don't think that's common at all.
No, not at all. And I'm kind of surprised at this point that it's really so late, right? Because Supernova, the one to start up the grubs, they're looking for Breezy to flash on the Kenby here. The knockup's there too. And they're looking to assassinate the jungler of Citadel. He will fall. Warfare to Supernova, and they'll take the dragon if they want it.
Yeah, talk about a way to get the kill, but you gotta give the props here to Breezy, really looking at the angle, finding the pick onto Kenby, and not even giving him time to even flash. I'm not sure if the flash was just a little bit away from coming to back up, or just immediately back up at that point, but it's such a good play they are able to find. Great timing on the level 6. Oh, Instinct has the flash.
All right, seeing a little bit of damage come out here, but it's not going to be all that much. Blaze Olive going to get forced off, but they'll be able to link up over onto this dragon. Let's see if Instinct has a little Guma in him. It'll be smited away. So Supernova dominating the objective game early. A bit of a surprise TDS from what we expected.
Yeah, but it just feels like when they are moving towards that that objective first, they are able to find the better angles. And it's something we talk about in draft, is how their setup just feels much better without having to deal with trying to lock down targets if they are just in their face. And here Dardoch doesn't have ultimate though. He does have flash.
We'll get over the wall, but Bradley will serve him back up. Be able to find a kill. Great play in the mid-jungle connection of Citadel.
I'm really happy to see that play coming in from Citadel, because it's understanding the timings. They know that ABO is pushed away. He has to back, so they go into the jungle. They see Dardoch overcommitting. Guess what? You're dead. And Philip may be here too.
Equalizer on the head of Hoarder here.
Ooh.
It'll be tough for Philip to find a way out, but it looks like he might.
Behind.
Yeah, Kenby might be coming in just a little bit. Meanwhile, over in the bot lane, we're going to see that Chains of Corruption get used. Scary Jerry wants to go all the way in. He's forced to flash away out of the Pop Blossom. His Instinct could not land the snipe.
Yeah, but that is a flash out coming in here from Scary Jerry for a heal from the Nico, and maybe a play here bot lane.
Oh, caught him! They caught Diamond with a seismic shove, and they catch Hoarder in midair. It's kills for kills up on the top side, but Dardoch is looking to come in for a potential dive. Instinct's on an island. He's going in on Bradley over on the side, who's going to try to slide up and get there, and seismic shove will throw him back in and get the job done. And once again, Instinct nowhere to go. Is he going to choose Breezy? He tried, but he will fall. It's a double kill on a great roam from ABO.
Yeah, you can choose whoever you want, Instinct, but nobody's going to die at the end, and it's going to be now 2 plates more added onto the extra gold tally for Supernova that they just got. Wait, Kenby
with the seismic shove. What's he doing? Blaze Olive picks up a third. Oh, we have a teleport. We're not done yet. Teleport in. Philip is zooming over with a nice sidestep here, but they're going to try to turn around on him. Dardoch specifically, he's taking a whole lot of damage. Root goes down to Scary Jerry as Dardoch's got nowhere to go right now. Looks like he's trying to buy room for the rest of his team, but his team is sticking around. Scary Jerry taking a lot of damage. He's got these skill shots. Seismic shove is there, and they play it on a knife's edge, and they get Diamond.
Yeah, Diamond is not looking that strong. Feels more like Hopper compared to what he probably could have been doing in that play. He has no ultimate, he has no flash, he has no ignite, he has no life either at the end of it. But it's a really long sequence of events that feels like Citadel just one by one falling to their doom. And you gotta give props to Supernova with how they set up themselves for most of that play. I think could have been a little bit better in the sense that doesn't need to lose Dardoch or maybe even Breezy at some point. but the amount of gold that they get out of that is way more worth than what they lost. Because now Scary Jerry's 4-1 and AVO is 3-0. Like, your carries are already set up for success, and in the process you also blow summoners, you blow teleports, you blow the map presence from Citadel completely, and it's all now on the side of Supernova.
And we talked about how disastrous it would be if Supernova got a couple of kills, and it's looking doomed early on for Citadel. Not only down about 1,500 gold, but TDS, it is much worse than that, because this is the part of the game where Supernova are going to start to get really strong. Citadel could not take advantage of what their comp does, and now they have to try to not bleed out on the rest of the map while Bradley waits to get online.
Yeah, and some of these fights are also without Hoarder, so we need to add, on top of the damage that they were already dealing, all the value coming in from Between Worlds.
He's going to try to solo kill here. Between Worlds is not going to save you. Philip is 3-0 right now. Might be the guy to hang your hat on. Meanwhile, Scary Jerry forced the Valk away. Breezy gets stopped by the piercing arrow. Be pretty big here, as there is 50 seconds until this Herald is up. So Citadel could have a solid setup for themselves if they want it.
Yeah, they can try and fight for it. Kind of funny that the ultimate from Hoarder is called Between Worlds and he just died. Maybe it's just a metaphor into being alive and dead in that situation.
True.
But for how we were kind of expecting the top lane matchup, especially since Aurora was a counter to that Rumble, Philip just feels like he has had more pressure and more damage at this point. Also 3-0 with their first item already completed means that this equalizer or this coming fight for the next dragon, if there is a fight for the next dragon, could be really important for Citadel with what they have in their favor. Equalizer, Nico Ultimate plus Flash. They also have Cataclysm plus Flash. So they have a lot of tools to really lock down targets and make it count this time around.
It's just so hard, TDS, because if these fights go wrong, you're essentially... you have no chance of getting back in the game. Let's take a look at the gold graph real quick. It's about a 1,000 gold lead up top for Philip, 1,100 we'll call it. The mid lane, though, is where Blaze Olive has carved out his vintage, and his bot lane, Scary Jerry, is still really big. There are a lot of summoners up here for the side of Citadel. Bradley's Flash will be up. We'll see if we're going to get any interesting Emperor's Divides. The dragon has been started up here by Dardox, down to about 4,000 HP. We're going to see a Weaver's Wall come through. But guess what? They're just going to turn onto a Blaze Olive, sizing himself on top of himself. Scary Jerry trying to get in their instincts. Got to get away. Bradley gets the job done. He finds the carries, and he will look to keep control of the dragon for Citadel.
Yeah, they found two in the perfect angle there, and it was looking like maybe a Blaze Olive was looking to try and lock down people with the Weaver's Wall set up for Breezy, but they are not able to find the right angle to force the engage as, Bradley.
Oh, he's going to try to do it to Hoarder too. Hoarder will be able to get under this turret, but a huge fight coming out from not only Kenvi, but Bradley really saving the day and punishing the mistake of the Supernova carries out of position.
Yeah, they find a really good angle in that position, and it's important as well to notice that it's not only the angle that they find to kill multiple targets, but they also get the dragon in the process. The only member that they lose is Instinct falling to Dardoch. In general, just such a good play that they are able to find. They are looking for a dive here, but I'm not sure if they can go kill Philip. Actually, there is a huge wave and no equalizer.
Yeah, would be pretty tough, but that also means that if you commit to that and it goes wrong, you lose the Herald too.
Yeah,
Supernova still a little stronger than Citadel right now. Bradley on the bottom side. He does have the flash. He's going to go after Hoarder here. Remember, he has no teleport, so he can't join a potential objective fight, as Hoarder, who just teleported bottom, has to back.
Yeah, Hoarder also doesn't have health bars now, so it's going to be scary for him. He cannot go to any lane. If he goes against Bradley, we already saw it, he's getting just completely demolished in terms of the damage. And then if he goes against Philip, he already has died a couple of times, so it's really difficult for them to try and set up.
Gary's got stuck here. He's going to have to flash over the wall. He gets knocked up. Does he have the Valk in the back pocket? No, he's just going to die. The Chains of Corruption and Citadel are starting to run over Supernova. Breezy going to be the next target as Bradley is linked up, but... it would just be, oh wait, hold on. Breezy committed for that.
He's fine.
He's forced off too.
Yeah, he's forced away. Really good play there by Citadel, and I really love how Kenvi just kind of gets behind everyone, waiting on the side until they finally find the angle to kill a Scary Jerry, and they also blow the flash away from the Corki. So before in the previous fight that Supernova just lost, Corki didn't have flash. Now he's not going to have it again. So that already sets up for a future fight where it's easier. Oh, ABO's dead.
Oh, yeah, they're going to find ABO. Nice sidestep there from Kenvi. And they will get the job done. That kill will go over to Diamond. And Citadel has come all the way back. In fact, they have nearly a 2,000 gold lead for themselves. Rodok will be the one to start up the Herald here. With multiple members coming out of the base of Citadel, it looks like this should be Supernovas.
Yeah, it really feels like it's close to impossible to stop this from falling down because there's a huge distance between the members and Dardock taking down this Red Pearl. That being said, the goal that they were able to find before with the team fight and with the picks, it's more important as actually they haven't... there was a slight margin there.
No, you got a nice knock up there to cancel the knock up coming out from Kenvi. He'll be able to slide over the wall, so a clean objective take here for Supernova. And we know what teams can do with a Rift Herald TDS. You can really use this to not only secure a dragon, but also get a turret and maybe find a way back in to try to stop the menace that have been the Citadel solo laners. I mean, we have a Rabadon's Death Cap as a second item here for Bradley. He does so much damage.
It's really going to feel scary whenever he tries to go in. And even if he doesn't try to go in, he just feels scary with the amount of damages he's going to be dealing with those Sand
Scarier than
Soldiers.
Jerry.
Yeah. Scary Jerry actually needs to be scary, or scared, sorry, about whatever Bradley can do to him. And the range now is going to become even harder to play away against. So I'm not sure if it's going to be enough yet, not enough to be able to lock down Bradley long enough that Dardock can arrive at the right time. But going back to that point about the range, right? We were talking so much about how much range the side of Citadel does have with the Asir and the Varus. And it's going to be even more apparent now that you don't have the gold lead, you probably won't have the first move into objectives, and the Sand Soldiers are going to be hitting really, really strongly so early on. So it just makes the life of Scary Jerry much more difficult because his range is not going to be enough to fight against it.
Bradley showing up on his most played champion in his career. Now in games that are counted on Leaguepedia at the very least. He's got 46 games on Azir. A 54% win rate, which is a little bit lower than you did anticipate, but a champion that's a little difficult to pilot at below a tier 1 level just because we know how macro can be below tier 1 and even in tier 1 sometimes. We're going to see Rift Herald get dropped down 30 seconds before this dragon. Envy is going to pay a visit to this top side here, so see if this turret will go down. I don't think they're going to even try to get... No, they will. They'll try to get some extra autos on it here. Oh. You get the flash out of Instinct as Breezy goes a little bit deep, but he got wrapped up. Now he's going to get into Herald and immediately get expelled from it as Shelly dies. Philip gets his 4th kill. We're going to see a teleport bot lane for Bradley here as Citadel are going to look to take their second dragon of the game.
Yeah, this is all setting up to be a second dragon for Citadel. No flash for Breezy and no life for Breezy either. And even though the equalizer was used here, there's still so many tools for the side of Citadel to control the area and try and force the play here. They won the Attica instead, which I'm not against the idea here because technically they can still fight for the dragon after it and they still have a lot of tools to really play around it. And they are burning down the Zatakan as well.
Yeah, it is gone and now Kenvi is going to look for a target here. Trying to get a little bit closer now. Breezy has respawned. Meanwhile, Blaze Olive is now in this fight. Between Worlds going to go down. It's not really going to do much of anything, though. The health bars are a little low over on the side of Citadel. I'm curious to see if they still want this fight. And the fact they just took Otacon. Breezy has a Hex Flash, but not a real one. Bradley looking to just kind of keep good distance here. 75% HP. You got to watch out for this guy as he's so strong. He's using the Hex Flash over the wall. Philip's Equalizer is almost up. Might be up after the dragon. No, it should come up right now. So
much
we're waiting for him to get down a really nice one. Here we go. It's right on top of Scary Jerry. Forces him away. They're going to turn over onto Philip. Meanwhile, there's the knock-up. Kenvi doing good. There's Pop Blossom. Flash. Double knock-up. Timing with the root. And they find Horner too. And Philip burns the other two alive on the other side of the fight. Philip legitimately solos half the damn team. Citadel and Ace.
Yeah, he's burning down everyone in his way, and Philip, apart from him just feeling like such a strong champion at this point with 6-1 on his side, the rest of the team is just answering perfectly. They play that fight beautifully, waiting long enough that the poke and the damage from Bradley are going to stack up. They are waiting just the right amount of time that Supernova gets desperate. When they get desperate, they cannot play the right fights because not only are they out of some of the important ultimates, they cannot force effectively as best as they want to. And Breezy
Breezy, what are we doing? There's a turret there, buddy. It ain't yours. He's dead. Bradley gets a 6th kill.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the idea was there. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure what the idea was there, but hey, another kill for Bradley, why not? And what we were talking about before as well, Bradley was going to be one of the wildcards of this game, even of this series. If he can perform to the level that most people expect from him, this was going to be a much better side of Citadel than we've seen before. If not, it could be a little bit rougher. And so far, has been really, really good. Really strong laning phase, really good team fighting, and so far, also carrying next to Instinct with doing a lot of damage and following up right on what the team wants to do.
Both of the solo laners out of Citadel are 6-1-1.
Yep.
Have a game, Philip and Bradley Bennyworth. As Dardoch is caught in the back of the pit. He does have a flash. He will be forced to use it. Just seen Ultimate come down. They're going to just throw everything at Scary Jerry. Got caught by the chains. Blaze Olive get knocked back by the Emperor's Divide as he looks for a play on Bradley. Whatever they're trying just isn't working. Kenvi once more too. The bloodthirsty Citadel know that they're ahead. Are looking to put this one out of reach, TDS.
Yeah, and call me crazy, but the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm feeling that giving away Rumble, Barris, and a Seer is probably not the greatest
It's a mistake, yeah. It's not good for team fights. Speaking of team fights, I mean, Dardoch forced out. Breezy, remember, he doesn't have that flash. He's going to get knocked up, and Diamond will get credit for the kill. Here comes Hoarder. He's trying to get whatever chip damage he can. Meanwhile, Philip on the bottom side is just split pushing away.
And he's playing Rumble. Like, that's a Rumble split pusher just taking down or about to take down a turret down there on the bot side, whilst the rest of the team is taking down the turret on the top side. They are just running down both lanes as strongly as possible. They have so much control of the game. We're not even Baron time yet. And they're already running away with this game, 7k ahead. Such a strong performance with Citadel, trying to impose themselves in this ACL in the best way possible, and they may want to go for an early Baron. They do have an Asir that can destroy the Baron really easily, and also a Rumble.
And they have the damage. The question is, are they able to clear the vision? Are they able to make Supernova think that they're not doing it? Maybe show Instinct and Diamond on mid lane or something like that. You do see it's already been started. The sweep is out. They're aware this is happening. Down below 7,000 HP. Scary Jerry going very aggressive, a little too aggressive, as he gets forced off by Philip. The Baron secured by Citadel. They're going to find a little bit more equalizer on top of the heads. Kenvi going to look for Dardoch here. Breezy with a big engage. Here comes the pop-ups on the backside, but big shutdowns are happening. It's up to Philip to try to kill ABO, but he can't do it. He goes golden. It's going to be a quarter. No, it's a quarter stolen. Scary Jerry finds 3, but a huge engage from Breezy buys Supernova some time.
A huge engage by Breezy and a big blunder by Citadel. They were committing so heavily for that fight. They wanted to kill the rest of the members as they saw Scary Jerry also jumping in to attempt to fight against his demise. And in that play alone, 3 kills to Scary Jerry, 4 Barons down, and also setting up for the next Dragon, because even though members are going to come back, the vision control can now go completely in favor of Supernova and set up for this fight. Important to notice though, no flash once again for Scary Jerry, no ultimate for Dardoch, no ultimate for Hoarder just yet. They need to wait for those timings to come back. But this was a much needed teamfight victory for Supernova that we're going to bleed out if they didn't get this.
Now Scary Jerry has his 3rd item. He's got that rapid fire cannon, should make up for a little bit of the range gap here. Drag it up in 25 seconds, so they're just going to go and do it again. And mind you, losing all those Barons, you just don't really get to utilize an effective Baron push, especially when Kenvi is the only guy in purple right now. Yeah. See them send Philip over to the top side here. As another mistake like that, Citadel could find themselves out of it all of a sudden.
It really depends on how they are going to position, but we need to remember Citadel is still really strong, 4k ahead. They still have a Barris and an Asir that is quite stacked up in terms of damage that they can pull off. And Kenvi also has a Guardian Angel, so he feels a little bit more confident. Even if he goes too far forward, he can end up killing a lot of targets, as that's Chains of Corruption down now.
Yep, it's a pretty big cooldown to burn at this juncture, but they're going to look to just actually keep the push on here, using Kenvi to have these bared up minions. So we're not really able to do too much about it. We do see that Scary Jerry does have the damages. Breezy got spotted out on a flank here. He's going to try to hop away, but he is real slow when he's off his horse. Diamond looking to get a little bit closer. The Sand Soldiers will poke him in the back. It'll be a 7th kill for Bradley.
Yeah, another one there. And Breezy was looking for the game-winning flank in that position, but it works if the rest of the team is ready to react to that. And sadly, they were getting pushed away, they were getting poked away, so there was not a lot of chances for them for that to work out. That's also Weir's wall down, and this means probably that the Dragon is going to go Citadel's way. Not enough contests going to come here because they were still getting pushed into their own side of the map. They were still getting forced into a really bad spot, and Philip was able to even push the side lane as well, so forcing members to have to react to that play overall. Baron buff may have looked a little bit dicey just because of how Citadel was throwing it away, but it's still completely on Citadel's side. Like, they have complete control of the game, their team composition is so strong, and importantly, they're able to have the upper hand in terms of who gets first to the objective.
Yeah, and if you're Supernova, you're like, well, guys, we stopped the Baron from getting really, really crazy, right? You lose one turret, you lose a dragon, and, you know, you lose, what, a couple, I think, two kills overall, I think, is what ended up being the final ledger, something along those lines. So really not that bad when it's all said and done. The problem is, can you actually keep Citadel away for much longer? Because there are no more objectives on the map, TDS, which means the objective is kill them and end the game.
Yeah, or kill the turrets and end the game, as Porter may be killed here.
Yeah, Philip living up to the standards of that objective. He knows what the assignment is. So he's able to solo kill Hoarder again.
That is legitimately carbonized rabbit. They just got burned immediately without any hope to try and stop it. And also the turret may be soon to fall down, not going to be on this play, but on the next rotation, on the next wave of minions, after this initial push that Citadel is trying to pull through, with the top lane getting pushed, the mid lane now getting collected, and then the bot lane also rushing there. They want to try and get 2 lanes down, or at the very least, force 1 lane down by trying to force on the other one. Ooh, that was close for Dardoch.
It's a nice little sidestep there, but it's so tough for him to find angles now because Wukong's MO is walk at you. Typically very hard to do. A Blaze Olive, they're going to try to section off Philip here. Really like this idea, but he's gone golden to buy himself a little bit of time. Kenvi able to get there. He does land the knock up onto Scary Jerry, but Philip does not want to join. He'll turn on to Kenvi here. Does have Guardian Angel. He's going to go in. They're all caught in the cataclysm. Guess who else gets caught? It's Philip. Oh, Big Pop Blossom coming through. Kenvi's back up, but guess what? Instinct can't join the fight, and Bradley's not there. They're going to be able to find Diamond. More kills going over to Supernova while Bradley raises the base in the top side.
It's a 3-4-1 killing Scary Jerry, but they do get the turrets in the top lane and the bot lane, plus inhibitor. I will say overall, though, I do think that this is the right play for Bradley, unless he dies here.
He likes these odds, but he's below half HP. Instinct there to try to help him out. He's going to slide out. But guess what? Teleport from behind. A Blaze Olive is here. Double flashes over the wall, but Dardoch will chase them down. Instinct falls. It's an ace for Supernova, and they have another lifeline.
Yeah, ace for Supernova, and also they take down Bradley and Instinct in 40 with a 40-second timer, with Baron coming up in 20, so they have a small margin where they have more members to try and attempt the Baron buff. If they think it's possible to do it,
they have to.
I think they have the members, but obviously they also have to consider that Philip is still alive and he has teleport, so he can try and go onto the minions. But it's the best opportunity they've had after like 15 minutes to really try and get the game back in their control. Such an important fight they are able to find, and now it's looking like it's going to be the Baron.
Yeah, they have to do it here, TDS. That's really the only way. Does get started up. Teleport coming in here. Porter has joined the party. It's down to about 10k and getting a little bit lower. Weaver's wall coming through to cut them off. Bradley is up. Does have teleport. He's going to teleport his way in, so you're just going to be without instinct here. He's going to go in, and he steals it away! Dastardly from the Citadel junglers. They're going to look for a re-engage over on Kenvi. He's going to get the knock. I'm trying to get away. Pop Blossom come through. Scary Jerry's dead. A Blaze Olive over on the side. He's going to go golden, but guess what? Hoarder's down too. It's Bradley commanding his forces. He's got a triple kill. He's looking for a quadra because you know he wants to find Dardoch. It's not going to be an official quadra, but we'll put it in the books as one, as it looks like Citadel will march it down and end this game.
And dressed in purple, every member from Citadel is just going to run into the base from Supernova. Such a commanding way of winning the game. A couple of mistakes here and there, I cannot take that away, but the important part is that they still close it out. And they had such a good game in how they recovered from a really bad early game with a couple of decisions that could have impacted the whole continuation of the game, but really good pickups, really good team fights, and importantly, just running after they got the lead, running with it really effectively. Huge props to how Citadel played. Almost throwed, but almost doesn't matter if you win.
Yeah, you know, it didn't end up being that bad, TDS. It was very worrisome, especially early. I mean, I think they fundamentally mismanaged what their composition does in the early game. But, you know, credit to them. Supernova kind of opened the door for them. They were able to turn it around and come up huge. And, you know, it wasn't clean near the end. I think that's just more so a hallmark of how strong these teams really are, that if you are very far ahead against one of them and you give them an inch, they will take a mile.
Yeah, it's a good example of what you can accomplish when obviously you have experienced players, but also when you have a way of playing that can reach that. I remember shouting out the South lane. At one point when we were doing our power rankings for the NACL, we talked about Citadel being kind of like Luminosity Light in a way. And I feel like their way of playing the game is similar to them in that sense. And if they can get to a point where they can imitate that frequently, plus reaching the high points of their players, they can do things like this, where they may start rough, but they have a lot of skill in their players to really turn it around and win the game. And then also, even if they feel like they are throwing the game away, they can just turn it around once again, because the capabilities of their players are there. The important part is finding the consistency for them to be able to replicate it as much as possible. And I think they did so in this game.
Yeah, if you've been paying attention to Tier 3 and Tier 2, you know there's a murderer's row of players in these games, and you know how good these guys can be at their peaks. Yep. TDS, you got an MVP for this game. I think it's got to go to Bradley. I mean, he out-damaged his top laner somehow. He somehow out-damaged Philip.
Yeah. I was really thinking Philip at first, because I think that he just won the match. Like, he got his first pick of the game. Absolutely nobody knew what was going to be picked after this. And he still just run the show. Completely destroyed Hoarder, got multiple solo kills, went with a lot of value in the game, and it just felt like both solo laners really stepped it up. I'm fine with giving it to Bradley, though, because I think that we were having more doubts about Bradley, and he stepped that up this game really, really well.
Yeah, and I love that you pointed out the value that comes out of a guy like him, because speaking of value, the Zen Market is your one-stop solution for buying products directly from Japan to help you buy items from over 10,000 shops in Japan, as well as place bids on auctions on your behalf. They'll even consolidate all of your items safely into one box and can ship internationally. Provide excellent customer service in 19 different languages. That's really impressive. And that's why Zen Market is trusted by over 2 million users worldwide. Now, here is the value part. Check out the panel below the stream or click on the link in the chat and you can try them out now. If you sign up with the promo code AEGIS, you'll get 1,000 yen off your first international shipping fee. In addition, we have a special viewer giveaway. If you type !giveaway in the chat, you'll have a chance to win a Nintendo 64. It was my first console, TDS. I think that's super awesome. I'm going to find out during our break if I'm able to enter that, because I know I won a Nintendo 64. With that said, we're going to go ahead and take a short break, and when we return, we'll have Game 2 of Citadel versus Supernova. Don't go anywhere.
ここだ。衣装の数がこんなに？
迷っちゃいました？ウィッグをお探しです？
リボンの種類が豊富なんですよ。見ます？鎧はないしょ。空のことを助けなあかんのに。待って。いろいろ教えてくれるのは嬉しいけど、大事なのは空。このキャラのアニメ版の衣装が欲しいんだ。サイズはこれ。ウィッグは大丈夫。
Welcome back, everybody, to Tuesday night ACL action between Citadel and Supernova. We thought that Citadel had the better comp, and then Supernova took an early lead, but then the better comp prevailed in the end. TDS, as it was a little bit of a gameplay differential. I think Citadel played their composition much better, and that's why they're up 1-0, and I guess that's why they beat Supernova in their NACL match that was the beginning of this month. So, you know, looking to make it a clean 2-0, but I'm sure Supernova's not going to take this one lying down.
No, they are the #1 team in the NACL for a reason so far, and they are going to come back biting really strongly against Citadel. That being said, like you're mentioning, already it feels like that Citadel 2-0 up, if you count that NACL win that they had already on their back pockets.
Call it now. It's 2-0. Call it now.
Yeah, technically you could run with that, but thankfully, we want to see more games, and everyone wants to see more games, so we're going to get that second game here for Citadel. And I think particularly what I'm more interested here looking in favor of Citadel, apart from obviously Bradley stepping up, is Philip. Because one of the things that I feel like always gets kind of side lane for Citadel is the value that Philip brings. And I think that goes for almost every team that he's on. Like, he always kind of gets a little bit ignored or not really put attention into, and he almost always delivered as one of the best of laners, if not top 2 at the very least, in the league. And that's something that we really need to put out here, because he dominated the top lane in the previous game.
Yeah, there's a reason why this guy has, you know, was contracted to FlyQuest for a short time when it was, when FlyQuest was, you know, in the tier 3 space, got a couple of games with the main team, I recall. Just can't.
He did play in the main team.
Yeah, I think he played with Tukui at one point when Tukui was on the team.
I think he did. Like, it's been a while. I will say it's been a while, so that's why I don't remember.
I'd have to go pull it in the archives, and honestly, bro, it's going to take a little too long to do so. So, yeah, not too worried about that right now. And Supernova not going to be too worried about the Lucian because they banned it. The champion has been really, really impactful in the bottom lane, and it's a bit of a shock that the champion is not being played elsewhere and is still getting banned. Like, that's so crazy to me. But strong early game power, he plays the mid game really well. It feels like Lucian isn't particularly weak at points. He just has some matchups that are not great.
Yeah, I feel like it also, like, his pairings make up for a lot of his weaknesses really effectively. And since most of the time you get those pairings for free, because I remember before when it was, and this is something we were actually talking with Gordo about yesterday. I remember the time when it was only Lucian Nami, and if you took out the Nami or the Lucian, like, the combo dies, and there's nothing to do after that.
Not anymore.
But yeah, no, like, you have other combos, you have other ways to play around it. I even think there's a couple of tank pairings that you can go for that can still work, like the Brom, and it just shows how effective the champion has become and how much they've discovered to be able to play around with the champion. That being said, there are a couple of bans that are the same as the previous game, but they left open the Maokai for Supernova, and this is going to be Dardog or even Breezy maybe having the chance at playing the tree here in this game number 2.
Yeah, last time it was banned away by Supernova, so we'll be happy to pick this one up. An entirely different suite of bans for Citadel, as we're going to see an immediate Yunara lock-in with a Sejuani.
Yeah, Yunara has been quite popular recently. It feels like if you're not picking it, you're banning it away. For ACL, I think that there's been less priority on the champion in general, but the idea is still the same, and I think the champion can really, really be strong, especially in the right hands. So going to be exciting seeing how Instinct will pull it off here. The Sejuani, not against it at all. Really strong tank, great engager that you play with, and I think especially this opens up the possibility of not having to go for a straight up engaged support, but instead have something more pokey or supportive for the Yunara to really have the opportunity to hyper carry later on in the game. So I really like this Sejuani pick here. The Jhin was banned away in the previous game, not surprising that it's being taken here, and you can follow up with a support of your own or another strong pick if you really think that there's anything left that you want to prioritize.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting though, because this means that Supernova, they're gonna have to find a lot of their early and mid game damage somewhere else. They've got plenty of utility, especially Saproling into Root is really strong. They're gonna opt into the Victor TDS, so they are going major late game, much like we expected out of Citadel with that game 1 composition. Now it's up to them to pick one of these bridge champions, like a Jin Zhao, but I wonder if it's going to be available in the second half. That would also mean that Maokai is going to go into the support role, which, you know, he's fine at. He's not as good as he used to be. You're going to see an Akali lock-in coming for Citadel here, so Bradley is just like, yo, man, like, listen, I'm just gonna assassinate these really low health squishies and call it a day.
Yeah, and I would think this is something Bradley pretty confident in, not only because he has played this champion before. I remember it more on Bradley top than on Bradley mid, I will be honest. But it's still a really strong champion for Bradley, and it's going to be exciting seeing the assassination potential that the champion will have. It also can be flexed, so it's not like it's only a mid lane champion. You can take it in the top lane. It isn't a Philip champion though, so I'm not expecting it to see it up there, but could still happen as second ban phase is going through. And we talked about Philip champions, that Renekton, pretty good ban here against Philip particularly. The Nara I think makes a lot of sense, and I'm expecting to see a couple of things like the Ornn, like the Cassandra to also be focused here just because of the value that they do provide for the team. There's also other bruisers that you can kind of go for if you're really feeling like it's the right choice, like these Ambessa. But they are really attacking the top lane pool as much as they can.
Trying to really figure out what you have left after that. And we've seen Hoarder play a bunch of different champions over the course of his career. He's only played 6 total champions so far in split 2 of NACL. So, you know, with Jax hitting the ban list, right, and it looks like we're looking at like maybe an Aatrox. If you want to go, you can't really go more supportive here.
He has gone for the Vladimir as well. He's one of the Vlad players. The problem is that the team is already like really magic based though.
Yeah, it's another late game scaler too.
Yeah, so it
pick up the Sante. Yeah, now Supernova, it's do or die with these last 2 picks, man, because if these picks aren't particularly effective in getting Victor to the late game, they're just gonna lose.
I think the Xinjiao you're calling out was probably the right choice. Now, if you want to go for a support that can force things as well, you can go the Nautilus and go Nautilus Jhin, which is not a bad pairing. Alistar as well can work that way, but now you need a really strong top lane that can enable. And the problem is that there's not a lot of enabling top lanes. Most of the time is the jungler that enables you to go for that. Or you could technically go Xinjiao here and send the Maokai top lane. That's another choice. And against like Santi, I don't think there's that big of an issue to pull it off because it shouldn't be a big threat into your laning phase. But it is something that is not typical, and it has fallen out of priority for various reasons, particularly because his laning phase is no longer that strong compared to where it was before. Yorick?
All right, we're going to get a Yorick lock in for the side of Supernova here. Now, Citadel, they have support counter pick here. Let's see what they're going to grab against an Alistar. You could elect to go for Poke. I know that Renata Glask is actually pretty good into Alistar because the handshakes are really solid. But I don't think it's necessarily that great into the rest of Supernova. I think some Engage would be probably best. But it looks like they will end up locking the Renata.
They hear you out, Yanni, and I think actually the Yunara here, the Renata Yunara, not necessarily a bad bot lane pairing. You have the revive potential, so actually you have a lot of value here to try and just immediately go up forward and try and get your auto attacks going as much as possible. And then the reset potential that you can get is not that bad. The only real tank that you kind of have to worry is the Alistar, because Maokai does enough build, or will go for enough build most of the times, where they go for magic build now and then later on go a little bit tankier, but that does take away from your survivability and enables the Yunara to be a really good auto attacker into you. And then the Jhin, even though can't push you into the wave, having the Renata makes it so that you at the very least can contest evenly in some of those trades as much as you can and will try and do. So overall, not against the pick. Only real worry that I have on the side of Citadel is that it is kind of depending heavily on the Yunara to be the consistent damage dealer and on Bradley to find great flank angles. Because later on in fights, I just see Supernova's composition having a little bit more consistent damage in more situations than the Citadel comp.
Yeah, there's just going to be times where, you know, especially early to mid-game, the mid-game especially, where Supernova is going to struggle to deal damage to Citadel TDS. Yep. The good feather in the cap that Supernova has is this Yorick. The question is, can they play around the Yorick better than Citadel can deal with the split push? That always seems to be the issue with these high index split push champions TDS, that teams will be like, we'll pick the Yorick, and then they have no idea how to play as 4 against the Yorick. And we know that some teams will lose their head on a split push and be unable to deal with it. So this is what I'm looking for here. Can Supernova let Hoarder do his thing, make Citadel answer him so Blaze Olive and Scary Jerry can get to their late game power fantasies.
It's really going to fall down on how can they enable each other to really get to that point, because Blaze Olive is going to be a big part of this composition when he reaches that late game. The later damage of the Victor is not something to scoff at, and importantly, there's not a big amount of or a huge amount of range on the side of Citadel that can really get on top easily of the Victor. It's going to be a lot on Camby to find the right angles, and then a great Renata ultimate to maybe dissuade some of the engage potential or the damage value from Supernova. But apart from that, a Blaze Olive has a lot of space to really play comfortably in the game, and then also the gravity field can be effective to deny Bradley at reaching some backline or having backline access, or trying to reach some of these champions. So, Evo is a pivotal piece of Supernova, and if he can get a pretty comfortable start, then the game can really run in Supernova's favor. But if not, Citadel has a lot of tools to control champions, kill champions, CC them to that enough time so that Instinct can get out attacking, and then Bradley as a chaotic piece can reach the backline and kill these two champions that are really immobile, so they can get just killed immediately as well.
Yeah, and they're so squishy. I mean, a Blaze Olive is probably going to have to opt into the Rod of Ages here. Rod of Ages Victor is pretty much the standard right now, but the problem in this particular matchup is that means you are going to be lacking damage. You're going to be doing mostly sustained damage. You're looking to get off multiple lasers in a fight instead of getting off a couple of lasers that do a lot, right? Yeah. The problem with that is against the Cassante, against the Sejuani, it's going to be so damn difficult to actually just chunk these guys out. So I do see that being a little bit of an issue. The one thing I do like about Supernova's comp is the pressure that Diamond is under against this Alistar. You must land the handshake very quickly to prevent the Alistar from actually landing on top of you. So if you're not expecting it, you can get caught. With the fact that you have the Deadly Flourish out of the Jhin to land the root afterward, I think they can straight up 2v2 and kill Diamond and get out without any major issues. But if Dardoch happens to come down, they can easily wipe out the bot lane of Citadel. And if they keep this Yunara behind, they keep Instinct off balance, try to force him into 2v1s, make sure that he has a hard time picking up CS, make sure he's dying and not getting kills. That's a huge bit of power out of the Citadel lineup, because then essentially it becomes a one-man team with Bradley, as you pointed out earlier, that you're really relying on these guys for damage and Yunara specifically for sustained damage.
Yeah, like one part is going to be the burst and one part is going to be the sustain, and you don't really want to miss out on the sustain. This is one of the things that happens with the assassins as well, where they are really effective at bursting out champions, but their burst is kind of dependent on a couple of factors really going their way, compared to having the mates on your side that can burst you, but also can kind of deal really effective, consistent damage onto your team. The one thing though that I kind of like about what Citadel can do this game as well is that there is going to be one split pusher potential for Citadel, and there is going to be one split pusher potential for Supernova. But Bradley has a lot of ways to really not have to face Hoarder, where if you bring a lot of people onto Hoarder, he really is going to have a hard time trying to escape by himself. There's a lot of ways to really counter this side lane push from the side of Supernova, and I think Citadel has a lot more ways to make it so that Bradley can be left by himself as well and play away from that. Even Philip as well. Like, Desante has a lot of ability, so he can have a lot of survivability potential without having to worry about getting picked up. Not the same story for the Yorick. And then thinking about a little bit of what the previous game went with and how this game can look a little bit similar is going to be a lot of on how the control is going to matter a lot in this game, because having the gravity field, having the I never remember the name of the ability, but the prison that Yorick has as well to lock down people in small areas is going to make really difficult any sort of engage potential from Citadel. That means that getting first to the objectives once again is going to be really important, but also how you opt into them. Because this time around the range advantage is on Supernova's side, and they can try and make it so that it's difficult to just play the long fight inside of those small corridors or small areas. And if you bring them down low with enough health that it doesn't matter, then you can just get a lot of kills in your favor.
One thing that you mentioned a little earlier that I'm with is you talked about split pushing. One thing that we didn't mention is we talked about that, like, oh, you know, Hoarder is the premier split pusher on this Yorick. Listen, Victor does have a good amount of side lane presence as well. The problem with that is you just need to make sure that a Blaze Olive does not face Bradley in the heads up, because Bradley can kill him, whereas it's a lot harder for a Cassante to get the job done. And what this means is that Supernova will utilize Grubs incredibly well in this particular game. So I do wonder if they put any sort of emphasis on it. The only issue is that if Renata gets up to any of these fights, I'm really worried about Supernova's ability to fight through a hostile takeover.
They end up killing each other really finally, so I'm not sure if that's going to be.
I don't think they actually will, TDS. Unless Scary Jerry hits a fourth shot, he's not really doing a whole lot of damage.
I've seen that happening before. I've seen that happening before. I will never discount that. But you're probably right. But probably is not going to be the reason why they lose team fights. It's more than likely just that they ignore the rest of the side of Citadel enough that then they cannot do anything else after that. But one thing that I wanted to bring up with what you were pointing out about the Grubs, or the Grub importance, is how little focus both of these teams had in the previous game. I think it was 2 Grubs for Citadel, or sorry, for Supernova, 1 for Citadel.
Yep.
And it was in a situation where we multiple times thought they were going to change sides, and they never did. As that is a lot of damage, Philip.
Yep, Philip taking quite a bit early. Not that it matters all that much right now, but Porter doing a good job of displaying dominance, flexing his muscles early. We're down on the top side of the Citadel jungle, so to be well aware where Kenvi is going to start. Diamond will get a little bit of damage onto a Blaze Olive, but really nothing to note right now as we're on the rift for game 2 of this best of 3 series with Citadel. Looking for a clean 2-0 over Supernova would be considered definitely a little bit of an upset for sure, TDS.
Yeah, I think this is a much unexpected upset, actually. That would be the way to put it, as we're already see trading down there in the bot lane, pretty similar to the previous game. I do want to bring up the fact that because these are 2 NACL teams, having to bring up the NACL consistently, something that it's going to be difficult not to do at all. But I like how both can interconnect between each other, both the NACL and the ACL, and how much of this may have a little bit of an impact into that NACL play matchup as well later on, because both of these teams are going to probably face each other later on, and having the confidence of saying we already have beaten you 3 times in a row is really good for your morale going into those sort of matchups, even if they are not taking this as seriously as the NACL.
I mean, who knows? Maybe they are taking it quite seriously. You know, you never actually get into the mind of a pro player, right? Because, you know, these cats are different, man. You ever talk to any of these guys? They are hyper competitive, and that's why they are where they are. But it's so weird because some of them will be like, oh, you know, I don't think it's a big deal, and others will be like, this is huge. Speaking of huge, maybe heal burn here by Diamond as he got caught a little bit, but the health bar is clearly in favor of the Citadel bot lane. See Kenvi moving over, so Blaze Olive going to be a little bit out of position here. He's going to kite upwards. He did hit level 3. He's trying to sidestep around here, trying to do what he can to Bradley, but it's not going to matter. It's first blood going over to Bradley.
Production Caddy, do we have a replay of that? Is it possible to have a replay of that? Because there's something that I really want to notice there. I'm not sure if it happened, but I think Kenvi played with just a little bit of vision that Avio was not able to see. And you never noticed that the Sejuani was there until the last moment. That is so well played by Kenvi if he actually did that. I'm not sure if you can take away the vision tunnel vision for only for Avio here. Because I think that he just went by on the side and he didn't spot it. Like just enough. Yeah, that is small corridor vision here. I think when he stepped up, it's just the last bit of it.
No idea. Yeah,
that was so well done by Kenvi.
Yeah, good on him. He took the wide route there, which was perfect because, you know, if you take a shorter angle, you can kind of flash out of it, but going that wide means that a Blaze Olive only has 2 directions to go, and if you go close to the Sejuani, well, you're A-okay with that if you're Kenvi. So really, really well done early on by Citadel.
Yeah, really sorry about taking away from the rest of the action after that, but those are the small things that I really love to see coming from players, and especially junglers. Those timings really can make the difference in this sort of kills, and also in matchups, because now Akali has first blood against a matchup that should theoretically be difficult for her in the early parts with the picture. So now you have a better opportunity of playing around it. You have a much better chance of actually threatening kills later on as well. and it just makes AVL's life much more difficult. He did save Flash, which is important. Oh, Hoarder.
Hey, Hoarder in a little bit of trouble, but he'll be okay. One thing to point out, TDS, is that's such a bad back for a Blaze Olive, right? Because if he is going into that Rod of Ages, he can only get the Sapphire Crystal. Getting the extra health is huge into Assassin Champions, right? So not being able to have that for a little bit longer and also not having a teleport puts him in a really awful spot early on in this game.
Yeah, this matchup already got kind of changed completely thanks to that one play, and that's why I want to bring up so much what Kenvi just did, because it's really important to focus sometimes on the value that these junglers bring to some of these plays and how much they can impact the way that the rest of the game goes on. Now, Dardoch has yet to go to a lane, but we know that he can go for some of these plays as well. He can try and find angles to make it so that the rest of the team can find good opportunities for themselves, and he is a little bit ahead on the CS to the Sejuani thanks to being more time on the jungle. So he can try and maybe make a similar play in the mid lane or in the bot lane. I would think bot lane would look more juicy just because it's two squishies, but it's something that I'm going to try and look for with Dardoch as well.
Yeah, he's going to have to do something. Remember early on in the last game, it took a while for Dardoch to actually make an impact, right? So looking for him to have a bit of an earlier one. Obviously, once you hit level 6, you know, Maokai's Grasping Roots are an incredibly strong ability. So he will certainly be able to have his fingerprints all over some of these fights. It does mean you're going to have to hit some really, really nice ones and try to pick off a couple members of Citadel, because, again, talk about their lack of damage in some of these early fights is going to be hard. He expects Citadel to be able to have the advantage in a lot of these objective fights and in these objectives themselves.
Yeah, as long as they can make the right moves, they're probably going to be able to find that. As a little bit of an attempt here, actually fighting.
Handshake gets the stun too. They're going to look for Scary Jerry. Double knock up from Breezy. He's going to try to trade back onto Instinct, but it's still positive for Citadel. Here. Yep, Kenvi is here. He'll going to get burned. He's trying to get a little closer. He does have a flash in the back pocket. They burn the flash of Jerry. Root's going to land. They'll burn the flash of Breezy as well. So a good job once again from Citadel.
Yeah, 2 flashes for nothing. Really good gank they get. Actually, 2 flashes for a ghost, technically speaking. But there is a setup here for the top lane. Hoarder has level 6. This is probably going to be a dead Philip if they are able to play it well enough. Although it's taking a little bit long. Actually, this is going against the play. I'm surprised because they did hit level 6 with Hoarder.
Yeah, it is a worry though, because you know Hoarder is level 6, which means within the first 2 minions, Philip hits level 6. And then...
So actually... I think it's because of the mana now that I look at it. Like, Hoarder doesn't have a lot to back up himself, so probably not enough damage to kill Philip in that play. And like you're mentioning, probably level 6 from Philip also has a huge value in that way.
Imagine getting all outed there. Oh my god, it's over.
Yeah.
You essentially lose the game on that dive, you know, and while things aren't going well on the bottom side, TDS, as the Dragon goes over to Citadel, you know, you don't want to toss the game right away, especially when you have this late game scaling. It's okay that things haven't gone that well early. As long as you don't let the game get out of reach, you're in okay shape.
Yeah, we now need to see, though, after that called off dive, that Dardoch goes for something similar once again. And I think going once again to top lane or to wherever Hoarder is and try and force a play onto Philip is probably the right play to really try and go for. Yes, it's going to be tankier the next back that comes through. Yes, it's going to have the potential to dive, to take away someone from the dive and make it be a little bit more difficult to pull up. But now that Instinct and Diamond are about to reach level 6 as well, and also because Scary Jerry and Breezy don't have flash, it makes the play more difficult to pull off in bot lane. And I think it's safer to just try and go for the top lane play and force a kill onto the Yorick so that he can really be the strong side laner that you want him to be.
Grub is coming up in about 30 seconds with no flash on the Alistar.
Everyone's here.
A lot of your engage is gone. They did send the bot lanes up top. This is actually very good for Supernova here, keeping Philip away, who had to burn teleport to be there, which means you know it's only going to be a straight up 4v4. See how things tend to progress here. Kenvi looking to get in. He's in the back of the pit right now. Bradley, the first one able to move, as Dardoch continues to clear a little bit. He's down on his bottom quadrant, moving up to his wolves, and it looks like we have a dive set up here. Breezy is only level 5. Can we get the first tower shot? Good ultimate down as they're going to blow up Scary Jerry almost immediately. And the tower tanking was pretty good. Instinct down to flash as Bradley once in. He does get stunned on the other side. Blazov looking to kill him out here with the Arcane Storm. Bradley running out of space, flashes away, but gets rooted up and he dies to a Blazov. So it ends up being a 1-for-1 when the dust settles. Instinct a little low too. Kenvi gonna try to heal up, but a Blazov gonna push forward, trying to land these lasers. As it looks like Supernova will start the grubs. Over aggressive from Bradley.
Yeah, they see blood in their eyes and they try and go for the play in that situation. And I'm not against them trying to maybe force a little bit more, but you have to consider that if teleport is coming through in that position, it's probably a Blaze Olive, and also that means that probably there's someone else also coming to that play. I think trying to pull off that dive was going to be extra confidence, going to be coming from Citadel, and we see them pay the price there. 3 grubs now going in the favor of Supernova, and also kill going in the favor of ABO means that at the very least they can try and fight back now on the side of Supernova. Love the idea though. I still think it's a good idea to go for that sort of dive. They could have maybe played around with the aggro a little bit better, because Instinct did hold the turret for a couple of seconds there and had to blow flash.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the dive was pretty okay, and you know, sometimes you just get hit in the hustle and bustle, and that's kind of the price of doing business, TDS. But I mean, that over-aggression from Bradley really costing Citadel there, because these grubs we talked about are going to be so influential in this game. You know, Hoarder has a pretty large CS lead right now, so he hasn't really been bothered too much. Blaze Olive has a kill for himself. He's got his Catalyst too, which means it's going to be harder for Bradley to kill him in the straight-up 1v1, even though it's possible. And later on, every auto attack on these turrets are going to mean so much for the side of Supernova.
Not going to turn into a kill here as well. It's important that they don't die, but like you're mentioning, Supernova getting more body to take down turrets is always going to be important for them, and how much they can turn those turrets into value, into extra value for the game, how much can they get closer to the base, it's going to keep on being important for them, as well as Bradley is not getting scared at all about fighting against AVO here, but he does get the Rod of Ages already, which means that he's going to have enough time to survive.
We're going all in here. We're the all out there. Forces the flash.
That's perfect.
The permafrost stun. It is beautifully played by Kenvi and Philip.
Yeah, that setup though is all on Philip. Gets the stun, gets the pullback, gets the ultimate, gets the control, and even with the flash, permafrost on the side to be able to lock him down. All that could have gone bad there for Hoarder ends up going bad, and he not only dies in that situation, but now loses the potential to push on the lane, and also kind of gives the opportunity for Philip to come back with an item and be really strong as Crazy.
Okay, they're going to try to turn it around on him. Permafrost is there. He's dropping his ultimate, and so will Dardoch just to force off the rest of Citadel here. Maybe get a little bit of damage down onto Kenvi as well. He is ignited. He went back in. He's going to get rooted back to the turret. The bailout. He will bleed out in the street as Dardoch gets credit for the kill.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I'm surprised that Kenvi did not opt into going back in, having the revival potential from the Renata there in that position. Because even if you end up dying, if you force a play there, there's a slight chance that you can kind of get a great ultimate like this. Oh, perfect.
All right, we're going all the way in here. We're going to be able to find Breezy. Dueling teleports coming in over on the top side. Diamond's got to get out. Philip really tanky, but guess what? Bradley got knocked up back. And this is a problem as Dardoch find a way out. So is Bradley, but Philip won't be able to.
He's alive?
Yeah, he hit the blast plate. He's getting chased down by Hoarder. Philip so close.
He doesn't get connected.
Dash out. And the dragon will be started up here by Supernova.
And realistically, the only casualty after all of that is, I think Breezy died, and then Kenvi, which died previously. So all in all, it's just a pretty equal trade. It is going to be Dragon more than likely for Supernova. Even though Kenvi is threatening, he's still way too far away, and I don't think he's going to try and suicide in that position. Close. As Philip and Hoarder fighting once again, but the important thing I feel like from that previous fight is how easy, after trying to kill Kenvi, or after having killed Kenvi, they get into position to control the dragon and then force the fight once again. All in all, really good. I would say for both teams, actually, it's not bad. They get a kill on the side of Citadel and nobody dies, and then they get Dragon and Supernova.
Oh, hang on. The squishiest member getting targeted here. Solid handshake. But right now, Citadel, sure, they're getting the kills, but they lost out on the grubs. They lost out on the dragon. It's, again, just small mistakes coming out here that are preventing them from taking a true chokehold on this game.
Yeah, it's not really allowing for either side to get a control, but It's interesting how both sides are making the small decisions that, yeah, they may be bad choices at one point, but if they fall in the right place, they could actually turn around the game in their favor really effectively. So I'm liking the fact that they are not scared about trying to go for different plays. They are not scared to make the bad choices and try and see if they can work out. As for the current state of the game, because of how close the gold lead is, there's not a lot of potential to push into the turrets as effectively as they probably would have liked though. And it also means that these situations like Hoarder here losing some fights, even when he was ahead before, are possible just because you're facing Akisante. But also he doesn't have Maiden, so that can change as soon as he has Maiden once again.
He's Maidenless for right now, but the Maiden is going to get popped, so out on a date in the bot lane is Yorick right now with his wife. Instinct gets forced back here. Take a look at the items coming through. Blaze Olive almost on 5 stacks of that Rod of Ages. You can see Bradley does good damage, but just not enough right now. Scary Jerry going this Mosquito Jin build, but we know the Ghost Plate does have good value on him right now. I'm still waiting for Instinct to really take over a fight. He's going to have his Ghost up relatively soon. He's got the Kraken Slayer too. And this Rift Herald would be a perfect time. We're going to see Breezy go in here. Curtain Call going to come through. A lot of shots, but Heavy is going to block it first. A lot of damage. Instinct trying to kite his way out. Teleport coming in here. Blaze all in the party. Instinct is going to die. He does not get bailed out in time, and it's another win for Supernova.
Yeah, in this situation here, surprised the way that it all started, because Instinct just got picked off. He actually just got stunned into getting poked out quite heavily with some of the damage from the Jhin, and then once again gets stunned into dying. I'm not really sure what the decision was there for Instinct to be holding so much time in that position and then just end up getting poked and killed, but getting another kill in their favor is really good. They also did force out a little bit of the position from the side of Citadel out of the Herald, and that means that now there should be an advantage for Supernova to try and take it. And there's also 2 crucial ultimates down for Citadel. No Renata ultimate, no Sejuani ultimate. That can really make a difference in a fight.
Well, we're going to see the Rift Herald started up here by Citadel. Multiple members of Citadel here. Breezy took it back. He's on the way, but it's going to take him a little bit to get here. Dardoch is on vision right now with Scary Jerry pushing mid. We see a lot of on the way pings. Rift Herald is going to go to the way of Citadel here. Looks like Hoarder's not going to be able to join the fight. No teleport available, so Citadel sneak away an objective.
Yep, they get it just like that. Just like how they lost the Grubs, they get in their favor the Herald. And now they are moving to try and maybe get something out of that Herald. They can try and look to take down the mid lane turret. That's typically the objective that they end up getting after getting the Herald. I would like it more so to put it onto the side wherever Bradley is and try and force into a side lane maybe to get a tier 2, because tier 2 does give a little bit more gold.
Yeah, if I'm Citadel, I think I kind of want to force a fight soon, because you take a look. I mean, Dardoch has gone the first item Leandries, which is still very popular on Maokai, but it does mean he's quite squishy, right? Order with the Trinity Force, obviously as a bruiser, he's going to naturally get a little tanky, but he's still not quite there yet, TDS, so there are opportunities for Citadel to really get good damage in, especially Instincts. He does have both of his summoners up, so we'll see if the Rift Herald gets popped very shortly to get this dragon. We talk about all the time teams using the Rift Herald to spring free a dragon take potentially to really go and take that space, and it looks like that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah, it looks like they are all setting up potentially for it. They want to have the most value out of their dragons, and it also looks like it's going to be a Hexaxol.
Oh.
So I do
We're
think
just driving through here. We're going to try to knock up everybody. Scary Jerry's been knocked up. Teleport coming in here from Bradley. He's on the way. They're going to target out Dardoch for right now. He's going to be able to flash away. His Instinct looking for a little bit more, but not going to be able to get it. Bradley finds himself attacking Breezy here. He's down to about half HP. Citadel do well to force Supernova away. And it looks like they will secure a dragon for themselves.
Yeah, this looks like the perfect position to try and get the dragon. AVO doesn't have teleport even, so it's not like he can try and respawn, but it is going to be turret for the dragon. Now, how much can you get out of this dragon? How much can you get out of giving up that turret in the top lane and all that gold to AVO? And something that we were talking about in the draft is how much value is AVO going to get in this game? Because he is really pivotal for the composition, and the more gold he gets, the more value he's just going to keep on stacking, really close to also finish stacking the Rod of Ages. It's going to be a scary factor in the coming minutes, especially for that next dragon fight in 5.
Supernova now with a pretty sizable gold lead, about 700 to 800 right now. It's not massive, but it's certainly worth noting. A Blaze Olive was able to pick up his second item here at 18 minutes. He's had a pretty quiet game ever since that early gank, and that's exactly what you want as a Victor, right? You want no disruption, allow yourself to get scaled up, and Citadel haven't been able to attack him on a side lane quite yet. And you know, there is a lot of worry there, TDS. We did talk about, you know, Supernova scaling is really strong. And right now, they're not too unbothered as a Blaze Olive is going to just pick up another turret.
Yeah, and it turned out, like you were mentioning before, Jenny, the strongest split pusher is AVO, although here, Dardoch
knocked away. Here's the hostile takeover. It's perfect. A 4v2 as they're beating the tar out of each other. Breezy's got a flash away. A Blaze Olive teleports. Bradley trying to get there, but he's marred by everybody. Now Philip on a flank. They're going to be able to find Breezy, and Bradley gets out of there. Scary Jerry got stunned as a Blaze Olive is trying to just skate away, and he will be able to. Citadel goes 2 for nothing.
Yeah, they are able to get 2 kills in that position. They may have lost the turrets in the bot side, and now maybe a little bit of a push coming in from the top lane from Hoarder, but getting 2 kills in that position is really, really good as close Philip in that position. He almost got the pullback there, and he still has ultimate.
Taking a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Envy is showing up. They're going to try to make this play once again. And again, the CC is very well timed. Philip's going to get the kill. Alistar's teleporting up into a 2v1 immediately. The knockup is there. Can they actually find Breezy? It looks like they're going to be able to. He did pop his ultimate. There's not a whole lot of damage coming out from these tanks, but they have plenty of time. And Breezy has not a lot of summoners. He will fall. But again, another turret going down here.
Yeah, beefy tanks eating beef pretty comfortably in that position. I like the idea of Breezy teleporting in that plate, but the problem is that as soon as you get it so quickly on top of Hoarder, lock him down and have the change from Philip to go into his ultimate, and that way get the extra damage, just makes it really difficult for a survival potential for Hoarder in that place. They do take down the turn in the mid lane, and even though these are a few plays that Citadel are able to get in their favor in terms of kills, they do lose out on a lot of objectives. They lose out on the turret top lane, turret mid lane, turret bot lane, and then their referral didn't really find any big value apart from skating through a couple of members. They do get the dragon, but it feels like they could have gotten more for what they were trying to pursue with those kills.
Couldn't agree more, TDS. A lot of their early errors resulted them in not getting objectives that they really should have. You would think at this point that Citadel would have been on sole point, but every single death they had in the early game was right before an objective, and that's why they're not in full control, and this is why the gold lead is pretty even. Now it's time for a Blaze Olive to really take over, because when he's not showing up in these fights, that's so much gold on Supernova that's just not there for them, right? We know that Otacon is up, and eventually somebody's got to start it up.
And he really is a big difference maker for them.
Yeah, I just don't know if he's online yet.
Oh, not again.
Yep, we're going to do it again on top of Hoarder this time. And you know what? Why not? I love the fact that he's just being attacked constantly by Citadel as Philip gets a kill, but this does mean Otacon will be started up. Bradley is here. Multiple members are on the way, and they don't have a lot of damage, TDS.
Yeah. And this is the problem of playing a Jhin composition. He isn't even there, but he will still lack the damage to be able to take it down. AVO can deal a lot of damage, but it's not enough. I think they can try and play it here. They don't have a full reset, but he's coming here.
Yeah, remember, it's going to shred. It's going to shred Citadel here as they're going to target a Blaze Olive. He gets focused out. Instinct is in. He's transcending himself. He's bleeding out, and they're not going to be able to save him. But they do take out the strongest member of Supernova, and here comes the curtain call. Kenvi in to block for the low health members as well as Philip. Do Citadel fancy themselves a turn? It looks like they won't. Otacon going to get started up again. The teleport coming in from Hoarder. Bradley does have his teleport available, but Diamond doesn't have any way to actually get there quickly. We are going to see this teleport coming from Bradley. It's going to be a 4v3. Down to about 6,000 HP and getting lower. Remember, all those resistances are going to be shredded. Here we go. Last-ditch effort. It is secured by Breezy, and they're going to blow up Kenvi. Good play from Supernova.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if that's the right idea from Citadel there to try and contest the Herald, the Atacant, because even if you're able to get on top of them, it's really difficult to secure it. Yeah, and they have double smite. We need to remember it's, oh, wait, Hoarder.
Orders looking for a solo bolo onto Philip. Philip trying to get away. They're going to knock him up, and Instinct is going to be there to be able to close this one out. He will find the top laner of Supernova, while Supernova will even the dragons at one apiece. That is huge for them.
Yeah, they do get a dragon, both of them, and also the Atacam Valley they do have to add on top. Scary Jerry.
Yeah, they think Dardoch's not there. Instinct flash, but Scary Jerry's got a better one. They'll turn on to Breezy, but Dardoch does so much damage to Instinct. The shielding, trying to keep him alive. Oh, he's still alive! Instinct lives, and now they're gonna look for Dardoch, and they find him too. What a turnaround from Citadel, and Breezy will die on the backside. Instinct will get that one as well. What a play from Citadel.
Yeah, what a couple of flashes there by Instinct and Scary Jerry to try and escape. But like you're mentioning, Scary Jerry stays too long in that position, and until the revive potential from Instinct is out, they cannot force anything as ABO may be dying here.
This is a hard dive on ABO here. He'll try to flash back to the turret. That turret's heated up, but it ain't doing a damn thing to Kenvi as Instinct picks up kill number 6, and Citadel are rolling TDS.
Yeah, this is big coming in on the side of Citadel, because now they not only get a couple of kills onto Instinct, but they are able to put pressure. Now they also killed AVO. He doesn't have flash now, which means that on the next coming fights he's going to be a sitting dog. And importantly, they are finding also gold onto Bradley, which means that assassination potential is going to be much easier to pull off because he has more gold, more damage, more value on his side.
Yeah, Instinct is almost on 3 items as well. This is huge for Citadel. In the blink of an eye, they have really wrestled control of a game that we thought that Supernova would have had in hand by now, that the scaling, would be so good for them, and that the gold lead was going to stay even. Just a couple moments ago it was 35k apiece, and Citadel has just taken a 3,000 gold lead and has really put Supernova on the ropes here.
Yeah, and it's really going back to something you were mentioning before, and it's those small mistakes or those decisions that turn into mistakes that then later on can have an even bigger impact. And I feel like Supernova has just having those much more frequently, as a little bit of attempt there doesn't turn into much more. They do get the crap on the side of Supernova, but for controlling the Baron buff here, one of the biggest advantages the Citadel has is that it's not a quick Baron buff. Just like the Anakin was not going to be a quick Anakin when they were able to take it, it's not going to be a quick Baron buff either. And that means that Citadel doesn't have to worry that much about not having enough vision on this side of the map.
Your Supernova, you got to try to slow the game down, TDS. 2.5 minutes until the next dragon, and even if Citadel take it, it's still not soul. It would just be soul points. So as long as Supernova don't give up the Baron, they can buy themselves as much time as they need to try to get Hoarder back online. He just hasn't been able to do a damn thing. They've kept him down to get a Blaze Olive to that 3rd item so that he's starting to hit hard with the penetration as opposed to, this tanky build that it doesn't really do a whole lot of damage to these carries and, can kind of shred through these tanks.
Can make it, but like you're mentioning, the point of power or attention that they gave onto Hoarder so that this split pusher was going to be negligible at some point is really, really important to notice. Like, how many turrets has Hoarder taken by just the split pushing?
He's taking 0.
I think one.
All of them are a Blaze Olive. No, all of them.
Yeah, actually, no. It's you're right. It's ABO, all of them. So this is a split pusher that we were expecting to see split pushing. Has not taken any turret by himself. Philip has been doing an amazing job at that. And then the team has been putting enough pressure onto Hoarder as well to make it so that he's negligible in most situations. Not even in team fights. Not even in split pushing. It's just one more champion. I would even say close to a minion as well, because his value is similar to that.
Yeah, you're right. They're just ping-ponging waves right now, and while that is favorable for Supernova to allow them to scale into the late game, that's not the advantage that you're looking for with a Yorick. You're looking not only to push these waves in, but to apply so much pressure. And Philip being 4-0-5, having 2.5 items, having upgraded boots, it's so difficult for him. So we can see Dardoch getting shoved out of his own jungle below half HP. He's going to use his W to get away, but he is down a flash.
They are not scared at all of success in that situation, and now no flash for Dardoch. He's not as tanky. We were talking about this as well. Dardoch is opting into an AP build more so than a tank build. So someone like Yunara that hits on hit is going to be melting you really heavily in these situations. And now no flash, 20 seconds for Dragon. This should be a pretty free Dragon for Citadel. I don't think Supernova should try and fight it. but most of the time they do. So this could just be a 5v5 once again.
And it's a fundamental issue, TDS, because I just don't think that you should be fighting this right now. You know, Blaze Olive's on 3 items. That's great. Just wait, man. Try to get him to 3.5. Try to get him to 4. You know, do what you can to make Citadel wait for this dragon, but I wouldn't really go all in on it because you could be throwing the game away. I guess we'll find out because this dragon is going down very quickly here. It looks like Supernova's doing a good job of zone control and shoving out Citadel. We do see on the backside, Bradley's around, Headbutt is out there. The root is down onto Kenby. He can't really get in. Here we go. This dragon's getting really low. Who's going to secure it? It's stolen away. Kenby gets it, but he immediately dies. An instinct ready to blow people up, but he's mired in the muck. He's got to get cleansed by his teammate. As Hoarder's in trouble, Bradley on the backline's got to flash away as Philip barely lives. Supernova win the fight, but they lose the objective.
So they lose their jungler, but they do get the objective like you're mentioning on the side of Citadel, and nobody else died unless Instinct.
Oh, Instinct's in trouble. He's gonna flash over the wall. That means that Dardoch's alone, but a Blaze Olive was there, and they blow up Instinct. That's a 900 gold shutdown.
Baron. Yeah, this is a Baron angle now because Instinct is dead for 40 seconds. It's only 18 for Kenby. There is portals, so they can try and play around that Baron buff. And once again, there's not a lot of Baron damage just yet. They can try and take it and start it here, but I'm feeling like the fight that they are looking for is to try and turn around. Although Citadel is going to try and respect it more, they are not going to overly commit and instead giving up this Baron buff. I think the smart play, certainly, but now Supernova all of a sudden has even better chances to make the split push matter with this Baron buff potential.
A crucial mistake from Instinct, and Supernova equalizes the gold lead with these double split pushers, as you said. With a Blaze Olive getting that big shutdown, he now has 2 needlessly large rods in the inventory, getting close to that Rabadon's, and that could spell doom for Citadel.
Bradley's trying to get a flank angle here, which I'm not sure if it's a bad.
Diamond. Good handshake. Flash. The flash of Breezy. The question is, can Diamond actually escape? Kenvy's here. They're going to try to turn it around onto a Blaze Olive. Hostile takeovers there. Scary Jerry waiting over the wall, but he got caught. He got caught. And he killed a Blaze Olive. He kills his own teammate. Instinct will fall on the backside as a Blaze Olive gets credit for that one. But now it's Dardoch caught in no man's land with multiple members around taking him out. The shots coming through. Not going to do anything from Scary Jerry. Scary Jerry, a small positioning issue. And it stymies the Baron play of Supernova.
I told you that he could kill his teammates still. I told you there was a chance for the James to actually do it. It's hilarious that it ends up happening just like that. But like you're mentioning, this disciples the play with a Baron buff so much. Not only do they kill one of the most important members for that Baron buff push in the forms of a Blaze Olive, but it also takes out the threat from the Maokai saplings in ultimate. And maybe they get a little bit more here. Actually, no, Porter can't kill him.
No, yeah, he's going to be very, very difficult to take down. But there is nothing for Citadel to do right now. Another 2.5 minutes until the next dragon, and that's the one you're going to be waiting for. It is Hextech Soul. So any little bit of damage that you can get, any little bit of poke will be slowing up Supernova. The good news for Supernova is that Citadel is really short-ranged, so yeah, it's only going to hurt once you're getting engaged on. But it will do a lot of work in those fights.
And funnily enough, if you were getting engaged on already, that they probably wouldn't need the Hextech Dragon anyway for that.
It's extra damage and a bit of a slow, so you'll take it.
It's good. It's like a little bit of a static tickle, I would call it sometimes. I will say though, we already saw also in that fight how big of a damage dealer Abo is, that he just throws out a laser or the ultimate and Instinct died on the side. Like he wasn't even close to the fight. He just died on the side trying to escape. So it's scary if he gets a kill. Yeah.
He's on 4 items right now. He is incredibly strong. We do see that Supernova is going to try to leverage the rest of this Baron and shove in here. Kenvy's going to get stunned, but the stun is back on ABO, but nobody can get to him. Here comes the Grasping Roots coming out as Breezy is the one who's just getting attacked here. He's got the ultimate to try to keep himself alive. Here's the curtain call. They're going to target out Kenvy. Kenvy in a little bit of trouble. He's trying to get out of there, and he will be able to, as Philip is in the rest of the face of the squad. Good ultimate from a Blaze Olive, but a Blaze Olive is going to go berserk right now. Philip going to try to get on top of him. He's unstoppable, but a Blaze Olive isn't taking any damage. Citadel's got to cut and run, but now they're going to try to turn onto Philip. Scary Jerry trying to get close. He's going to try to land the root, but he won't be able to. Good point out there is Hoarder. Look, they're just trying to keep these guys from stopping Hoarder. Kenvy and Philip are so low. Bradley's got it back, and Hoarder will cut and run the inhibitor for Supernova.
This is one of those few instances where, because they took so long to take down Breezy, and Bradley and Philip were not able to find the flank angles that they were looking for to get on top of ABO and Scary Jerry, that meant that the longer fight just was much better for Supernova. They just run them down, kept the control up, just poking down on the side with the amount of damage that we know ABO has, and that just meant that the fight was going to be much easier for them to try and take us. Ooh, Hoarder.
Everybody on the map
spotted
here. We're missing some crucial ultimates from a couple of targets. The Maiden is going to die, and that is very big for Citadel here. So they're not going to have the 6 and the 5.5 v5. Will Supernova, as this dragon is up. Hoarder didn't get a chance to get his back. Stardock is going to go over the wall. Philip caught in the dark possession, but he will be able to dodge out on the laser as the dragon's been started up here. This is critical. This could determine the game. TDS. We are in that part of the game. Down to 10k. Look, they're going to try to turn on the Dardock. The handshake is there. They're going to try to blow him up, and they will find him. But a big knockup by Breezy as a Blaze Olive is trying to get close. The Arcane Storm doing a lot of damage. He's in the mid. But look, Bradley trying to get on top of him. So is Philip. Big knockups as Breezy is doing what he can. These health bars are low, but a Blaze Olive can't close him out. Hoarder low, but he gets flashed on, and he dies. It's a Blaze Olive against the world, but they're all so damn low, TDS. A Blaze Olive could find a way. I think he's going to need to. Kenvi can get in the back of the pit. Here we go. He's going to attack by the dragon. Dragon down, and it's going to start resetting. This is huge. A Blaze Olive needs to find a way in, but he can't secure it, and he gets hand shook. He's going to try to stun him. He does, but he's running out of HP, and he just doesn't have the damage. He's trying to kill Kenvi, and he can. It's an ace for Citadel.
That was such a long and tedious fight for both teams, but guess what? It's Citadel that ends up winning at the end. There were super minions also coming into the base, but it's not enough to take down the base either, and that means that it's sold for the side of Citadel. It's gold for the side of Citadel, and it's looking like Citadel is really poised for this game. These fights are weird because you can really feel like they are going one way, and then out of nowhere they go the other side, and it's all on what Bradley and Philip are doing on the back line of Supernova. Because even if Instinct is doing a lot of damage in most situations, it's really, if Bradley kills Scary Jerry or threatens ABO, the fight is won by Citadel. If Bradley does not do anything like that and the fight is just played normally, Supernova wins that any day.
Yeah, I mean, Breezy put in so much work in that fight. He tried so hard. He just wasn't able to help his team enough. The rest of his team just could not get there. It was only ABO's damage, and we know how big he is, right? He's on 4 items. He has the heal cut. He does a lot of damage, but it's just so hard to chew through these tanks, no matter how much damage you have, no matter what champion you're playing. There is the middle inhibitor advantage, but guess what? This means the Citadel started the Baron.
They have first move. They are moving into the Baron buff here. They want to stop it. They have to try and get here, although Dardock has no flash. Ulti down.
Trying to get in the back of the pit. They're going to go on to Dardock with big knockups on the backside. Going to come through as well. It's secured by Instinct over on the backside. Dardock is in trouble. Scary Jerry trying to run for his life. Guess what? Breezy's gonna get run down by Instinct, and now Scary Jerry is going to fall. Great job by Citadel on the target selection.
Look at the bot lane.
A Blaze Olive was immediately forced out.
Yeah, there's a bot lane wave. Guess who's TPing already there? Philip. The wave gets immediately cleared, but there's another one coming on the back. They have enough minions to be pushing there, and it's only a Blaze Olive with no flash. So if they get on top of him, that can be the game. And it's all on the way that they control that Baron fight. It's so effectively done by Citadel, and importantly,
oh, he missed. They put the game on a Blaze Olive's shoulders, and it just doesn't matter. He's sucked into the black hole, and Supernova cannot get it done. Citadel win 2-0, and in this game, late game domination.
You know what? I told you about this, Yanni. I told you about the 2-0 curse that happens in the ACL broadcast, and it just goes every time it we feel like it's not going to happen, it ends up happening here. But full props to Citadel. I think they played this game so well in instances that they looked like it could be really difficult, especially with how strong ABO was looking in the late game, how it felt like Supernova was kind of setting up already to try and support him effectively, and Citadel just managed it out really, really well. And once again, I want to bring up I was going to say Bradley. He played this game so well.
You can
that
call
was
him Chadley.
I think that he deserves it. Like, he played the flank angles so beautifully, in a way that it just made the life from ABO and Scary Jerry impossible. He found so many opportunities to control the places that they were looking for and made it so that even if the engages from Breezy were amazing, which he got a couple of great engages, and Hoarder was inside of the fight, like it didn't matter because Bradley alone was being an army by himself.
One-man army for that guy. I mean, it was a really, really well played game for him. He played a really damn good series.
Yeah.
TDS, he really showed up. He did a lot of damage in that game, but he was dwarfed by Instinct's damage on Yunara. This champion, when she gets going, is so ridiculously strong. I mean, you just see it in the damage charts, but I mean, absolutely gapping Scary Jerry in damage. And I know that's not his primary job of this game, but later on, you just knew that, oh, Instinct showing up to a fight, somebody is dying.
Yeah. Like at one point, his damage was just going to be that much better than whatever like Scary Jerry was going to be able to accomplish. And that also kind of falls into the difficulties that this composition was going to face. And it really showed up in some of those situations. That being said, I do think Scary Jerry could have played some of these fights a little bit better because there were instances where he could have really have done a little bit more. Ultimates could have been a little bit more on point, or CC could have been a little bit better as well. And I think one of the main things that really turned around this game as well was that kill onto ABO.
Yep,
because that was a teamfight victory. That could have been a teamfight victory that turned the game on its head. But 100%. That denial really impacted.
Yeah, and the worst part is he saw it. There was full vision of it coming through, and he just stepped up a little too far, got caught on the pinky toe. His pinky toe was in the hostile takeover, and the only thing running through his mind is, I must kill my teammate. I must kill ABO.
Yeah. That's what happens when you play against Renata.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, TDS. We're going to go ahead and move to a short break here because we have who I think is probably our series MVP, given the way he played game one and how well he played in game two. Bradley on tap. So we're going to go ahead and take a short break, get him What's going on, everybody? We are back with the mid laner of the victorious team, Citadel's own Bradley. Citadel, Bradley, congratulations on your victory here in this game. You guys have now secured the #1 seed out of these GSL grouping. And the first thing I'm going to ask isn't even ACL related. It's NACL related. Now that you have 3-0'd Supernova in your last 3 games, how much confidence do you guys have against this team? You guys are rolling.
I think I said it the last time that I had the interview on the NACL broadcast. We think that they're good, but we never really thought that they were unbeatable. So I'm glad I could further back up my point here as well, right? Especially because when we did beat them, they were undefeated, right? So they were definitely playing pretty well as a team. But like I said, we all thought that they were not unbeatable. And we, showed up today, obviously. That's going to feel good for the guys. And I think going into NACL, they might have a little mental block now. Because we will meet them fairly soon, I'm pretty sure, in the upper bracket, assuming we win our first match versus Conviction. So they might have a little bit of a mental block against us now. So that's good.
Could be. Might be on a high alert there. Might have to figure something out. Get the esports psychologist on tap or something.
Yep.
Yeah, in general, and I'm going to back up from the NACL a little bit because this is technically not the NACL, it's the ACL, just with 1 letter off. And you guys come up yesterday from a good enough victory, I think, against Papa's Chunks, but today felt more decisive. And I'm kind of curious, if it was just the difference in teams or the fact that you've played technically against Supernova more, just because you are in the NACL, so I guess you would scream them more and play against them more frequently. I'm thinking if it's maybe that just made you more consistent against beating them, I would say.
I think for us, it's a good question. I think for us, everyone on our team, unironically, kind of, okay, maybe this is bad to say, but we kind of treat ACL as more practice. Since we're in the NACL and time's very short, we want to make the best use of our what we have available to us. And so, getting the option to get more reps in as a team, especially as on a stage match per se environment. We just wanted to take that, and I think yesterday was kind of just the same as usual. It's almost in a way like we're treating it like a scrim, but obviously it's more of a practice for stage matches, right? But I think today versus SN, since we consider them a good team, everyone kind of wanted to lock in a little bit more, right? It was a little bit more than a scrim, even if even if it's practice for stage matches, it was a little bit more to us because obviously they're a good team and we're going to be playing against them soon, assuming they win, right? And we win, so yeah.
Yeah, and actually to follow up on that, because I'm also in the mindset that I think for NACL teams, now that we have this sort of format that actually allows you guys to play more frequently against these top teams that are going to be your real competition, realistically, when looking at the NACL, I think this benefits you guys more as well. But I'm kind of curious if you guys have any sort of pride as well being the defending ACL champions, because we were talking about this in during the game. You guys are one of the few teams that can kind of defend your actual title for the ACL, and I'm kind of curious if you guys were interested in that, or were you thinking at all about that as well potentially?
I mean, that's a part of it. That's definitely a part of it because when we did win the first time, it feels good. I think we were there to win, and that's what we did. So when we had our manager kind of brought up to us hey, would we want to play in this again? And I think everyone was kind of just yeah, why not, honestly, as long as we can, if schedules don't conflict or anything like that, if we can, we will.
We remember, just quickly, we remember because we had Gordo here at the time, obviously, but we remember that we asked you guys in the winners interview, or I think it was Philip and Instinct, if you guys were going to come back, and both of them say we don't know, we're probably not, and then out of nowhere Citadel coming back here. I'm glad you guys did, but we were a little bit
trolls. They're trolls. Yeah.
So Bradley, you've been playing for quite some time now, right? They're not trying to say you're old or anything like that, but you've had a long storied career at this point. Now that promotion relegation is back, and this is more just a question for your career,
right?
You're heading into the playoffs. That top 2 will get you into the promotion relegation tournament. You know that you just knocked off Supernova, right? One of these top teams. You've now won 3 straight against them, giving you the confidence that hey, these teams that are at the top of the table are not all that unbeatable. Did you get that kind of thought in the back of your mind, the potential butterflies in the stomach of I could be playing in a promotion tournament match to get in to LTA come the beginning of next year.
I think most of us, or honestly, probably all of us, that promotion tournament is always in the back of our minds, and that is what the end route will be. That is always what we are. That is what we are scrimming every day for. That is what we're playing solo queue every day for. That is what we are eating, breathing, sleeping League of Legends for, right? It's to get to that point. And I think not necessarily butterflies in the stomach, but it is a nice bit of reassurance to feel like what we are doing and our efforts and our practices has been paying off and it's working, right? To be able to show that today versus a really strong team, right? That is honestly, in my opinion, top 3 NACL. Even like, you know, that's even kind of like low, like maybe third. Like I genuinely think they're a really good team, right? So I think making sure we're staying on top of our game definitely puts us not at ease, not comfortable, but it's like it gives us more confidence knowing that we are trying to reach that goal and, like, you know, just making sure we're getting there.
It's always nice going into playoffs knowing that, you know what, we're confident with the way we're playing our game. We can beat anybody in our way. And it feels like that's what your team is feeling like right now, Bradley. Once again, congratulations on your victory here today. Any shout outs before we go?
I mean, I have lots of shout outs normally. I like to shout out like a lot of people.
Listen, we got time.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think, I don't know.
First shout outs are always like my family, my parents that, you know, that watch. Like I have a lot of friends that support me, my friends, like, and then like speaking on my family as well, like my mom, my brother's friends, even sometimes my sisters. Like I have a lot of family members that support me, and it's very, very nice to have such a supportive family, because I know sometimes like parents who don't understand gaming, it can be a little bit of a headache. Lots of things with that, right? But I was very fortunate with that. Like I said, friends. And then lastly, you know, shout out my team, shout out you guys for making this possible, and then shout out the nice guys in Twitch chat who always hype us up after a good play.
We love the nice people in Twitch chat. Maybe not credit for everybody in Twitch chat. Bradley, thank you very much for the interview. Good luck moving forward in the ACL, and good luck in the NACL playoffs.
Thank you very much.
That will do it for us here today, but we do have a couple of parting announcements. Once again, we want to thank Zen Market, our sponsor, the one-stop solution for buying products directly from Japan. They'll help you buy items from over 10,000 shops in Japan and place bids on auctions on your behalf. They'll even consolidate all of your items safely into one box, and trust me, as somebody who orders a lot of different things, that is very important, and get them all in one box. And they even ship internationally. They'll also provide excellent customer service in 19 different languages, and that is why Zen Market is trusted by over 2 million users worldwide. If you check out the panel below the stream, or you click the link in the chat, you can try them out now. Signing up with the promo code AGES gets you 1,000 yen off your first international shipping fee. In addition, check out the special viewer giveaway. You can type !giveaway in the chat, which I already did earlier. It's up in another tab, because you can have a chance to win a Nintendo 64. For a guy like me, that nostalgia is all I need to want to get in. We will be back with the last week of the GSL groups Monday and Tuesday before the playoffs. We have AEL finals this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern as well. TDS, any final parting notes?
Just 2 things. ACL is great. Come watch it once again, and hopefully Yanni can fill in once again as well, because it was a pleasure casting with you as always. And also Southmind. You guys can always check out the Southmind. We talk about ACL and ACL, and I think Yanni will eventually come in as guest, so you can also catch him there.
Eventually. I just listen. The schedules have not lined up, but you know, sometimes that just happens. But that will do it for us here this evening. For myself, for TDS, for Caddy Behind the Glass, and the entire Aegis Esports family, we want to thank you all so much for being here with us tonight, and we hope to see you Thursday for AEL finals.
Bro, just use Zen Market.